Saw, as I'm sure okay. Disclaimer, this is for entertainment purposes only. Yes, we are talking about current events and some factual information, but this is for entertainment purposes only. I am not a medical professional, and I am not intending on giving any medical information, and this is all my thoughts and opinions only. I'm sure a lot of you have heard that the CDC announced, I believe this past week, that the US has its lowest fertility rates ever. It is 1.6 children per woman, really 1.599999. But the way it works, they call it fertility rate, and that's how it is averaged. How many babies each woman has in her lifetime. That's just the way it is. And of course, there's all sorts of reasons. I find this to be very interesting if you've seen any of my content at all. Oh, hey, Diamond, how are you doing today? How has your week been? I like it as a, is that is that supposed to be a zombie? I don't know what it is, but I like it. It reminds me of video games from the 90s. So, I'm talking about how the CDC just announced that we have the lowest fertility rates ever here in the US, ever recorded. And um, so, of course, it's of I know it is women having the babies, but it feels kind of like aimed right at the women when it is a problem we should all be working together on. And they already talk about making some sort of child bonus or something where they give you a bunch of money for having a kid. But I don't even think that would help many people. Like, things are so bad, and it would take more than one large, even a large lump sum of money to help people really, um, with the kids. Diamond, is that you? I'm not trying to be rude, but like, I don't mind that you're leaving a lot of comments, but I just don't know if it's for sure you or not. Because I almost feel like you've been hacked. Hi, Linus. How are you doing? So we're talking about how the lowest fertility rates ever were just the CDC announced the lowest fertility rates ever in the US. And I had a lot to say. At first, I thought about RFK Jr. because I am not a fan of RFK Jr. Okay, I'm glad. I just want to make sure it was you and you didn't get RFK Jr., I believe he's like all other politicians right now. Okay, Thomas Massey, like the Kentuckian Massey, he's one of the very few that has a backbone. I do like Massey, and it's like no wonder to me that one of the only politicians with a backbone left is Massey, and he is from Kentucky. As I'm saying, there's something about the quality of people here overall. There are a lot of down to earth, good, grounded people that really do care about their community, they care about their neighbors, and it shows. It's like it improves the quality of life. Even though there's a lot of poor people, there's a lot of poor regions, it kind of goes hand in hand with that, like people that aren't trying to one up each other, like keep up with the Joneses and drive the nicest car, live in the nicest house, have the best plastic surgery. Hi Jen, hi Pig Father, thank you. Hi Jeffrey. Okay, so oh my goodness gracious. I need to be careful when I'm sometimes I almost accidentally block people. Hi William, how are you doing tonight? William, I believe did you leave me a comment last week? I think I might have accidentally deleted it. I don't know if you deleted it. I'm sorry for calling you out, but you left me one of the nicest comments, if that's still William Barry. And if I accidentally deleted that, I'm so sorry. Where you said I had three qualities of people after your travels. Like, okay, anyways, I just wanted to say thank you. That really was like a sincerely nice comment. It made my night. And then I was like going back to heart it because I was at work. I had to X out of my phone, and then I was like, oh no. Okay. Hi, John Doe. So I think about JFK Jr. because isn't he like a superhero, like a knight in shining armor that's supposed to come in and save us from everything? Of course, when it comes to this, there wasn't anything specific, but I did look up, has he said anything about the maternal and infant mortality rates? Because that also is a place my mind went to, and you're trying to encourage women to, or at least you're concerned about it and on that track of maybe trying to encourage women to have more babies. You should think about how we have one of the worst infant and maternal mortality rates of any first world country. It's shameful. And I'm glad there's a lot of countries out there that have better outcomes than ours. It's because of the amount of money we spend. When you see dozens and dozens of countries that have better outcomes than here in the US, yet we spend the most, more than any of them. How does that make any sense? And that's what I was saying, like, if society really truly cared about children, that wouldn't be a thing. It would be the number one priority to take care of the infant and maternal mortality rates. Like, to Dr. LaGrue in California implemented obstetric crash carts in all of his labor and delivery rooms in the county he worked in California, I believe, and it significantly improved outcomes. All the money we spend on healthcare, we can't have labor and delivery crash carts. There are things on those crash carts that a certified midwife, like my midwife having a home birth, our last baby was home birth, would have on her, but it wouldn't be at close as hand as for somebody in a labor free room. And trust me, I get it. There's plenty of things that she would not be able to do or have, but a good midwife will be able to help you transfer to the hospital for the vast majority of emergency situations that and where the hospital is needed. So that's something that's so important. And of course, we're not going to touch it with a 10-foot pole. And like a lot of people have too much pride, but I think it really boils down to not giving a about children. And we are still in the dark ages when it comes to that. Like we think about, oh, kids were like put in factories and they were sweeping chimneys, doing dangerous jobs. Like they were treated like less than a few decades ago, not that long ago, 100 years ago. No, children are still treated as way less than, like we're still kind of there. And if we actually cared about babies and their mothers passing away, because this isn't just about women, I have to remind you, half of those babies are men, right? It's like the future, how many babies have been lost because we didn't do something as simple as implement obstetric crash carts. Oh gosh, I just got like the air conditioning came on and I got really cold. So I'm trying to get through my notes. I really appreciate everybody in the chat, and I'm sorry I'm not saying hi to absolutely everybody, but like, I try to think about people that might be listening to it on the playback, and it's kind of difficult when somebody keeps saying hi to people, right? So JFK Jr. has said that taking away funding might be bad when it comes to the infant and maternal mortality rate. Like taking away the funding for some of these programs might be bad. No shit, Sherlock. Like, of course. And trust me, I totally get, like, I believe that like a lot of this has to happen. A lot of the things that they cut, like, it was unsustainable. Our debt could not simply be sustained. But I still don't agree with like, having this billionaire oligarch come in there and do it. And he's all about JFK Jr. taking the seed oils out of infant formulas, which once again I can get behind, but I just feel like you just look at him, you can tell, in my opinion, he looks like he's a narcissist. He looks like he's really into himself. He's probably been told a billion times before he's handsome because he is a handsome man. And there's nothing worse than like a man that's really into he seems like the kind of man that probably spends more time getting ready than whatever woman he's with. I could never. I could never. And like that's of course that's the kind of person that would end up being a politician. And I'm going to read William's comment. Or Diamond said, me too with the lottery. I want to read people that, I know are in here regularly. We have super good infant mortality rates. What happens is a lot of women have given birth to babies in such bad shape they would never survive anywhere else. Be careful with statistics. No, we don't have super. If you compare it to other first world countries, we are way behind. And like I said, we spend the most amount on healthcare, and we have really poor infant and maternal mortality rates comparatively. Like things have gotten better. And I think, did you guys know that they had to make the baby, oh my gosh, listen to me, like the incubators for premature babies, that was made to be a circus sideshow because doctors wouldn't listen. Doctors didn't listen to the man that was like, look, I invented this thing that might sustain life when they're born too early. They wouldn't listen. They didn't care. He had to go to Coney Island and make it a circus sideshow attraction and show people, the public, to get the medical field's attention. Look, I can keep these little tiny babies alive. Like, in general, the medical field, like, they can be pretty heartless. And in my opinion, a lot of it stems from like there are always good doctors. There are always doctors that care, of course, but a lot of them don't. And especially with the way things are now, like it didn't used to be this egregious, but like doctors make so much more money than they used to. And I understand as surgeons, like I think surgeons deserve their weight in gold. Like, I really do. Like, some doctors are definitely I use avocado oil, and we use that the most, and coconut oil. So I'm sure I do eat seed oil and processed foods that I eat, but, like, here at home, we avoid it. Um, Bruce Lee had a vegan brother named Broccoli. Okay, that was a good one. That sounded like a dad joke. I don't know if you're a dad or not, but that was really good. Um, American Crusader, definitely good medical professionals. So, like, I don't mean to insult anybody, like, if you're one of the good like, we need you so badly if you're one of the good ones, but I've even seen okay, there was, like, a I think it was Crime Daily, there was this episode, like, one of those serial offer nurses, and the comments were full of people that supposedly I know, take it with a grain of salt, in the medical profession that were saying, "Yeah, a lot of people I work with are, like, absolutely absolute sociopaths." And, look at, nurses, like, the nursing field, like, a lot of them, like, can't get along, and once again, not all. I've had it's like either or, right? Like, the good healers, the good nurses are absolutely life-saving, and then it makes you wanna hesitate to call out any of the bad ones. But, greetings from Idaho Falls. Hi, Jim, how are you? And hi, Return to Jesus, and hi to everybody. Well, okay, William, I don't know what they would get out of lying about the infant and maternal mortality rate. And one reason I get what you mean, like that book, How to Lie with Statistics. You can take statistics and make them look like you can take data, I should say. That's what I should say. You can take any data if you know what you're doing and make it look like anything statistically. I do understand that. But the hospital that I chose to avoid giving birth at the last time was a small town hospital, and there was so many I myself, just as somebody that grew up in that town, knew so many women with bad outcomes, so many women that got infections in their C-section scars. It's just like obviously like a bad place. Like there are places like in women that I knew like avoided giving birth there. There are definitely places that are like way worse than others. And if you do your research, you like pick a, I think this is how it was years ago, a baby friendly hospital. Baby friendly means you can like have skin to skin contact and like a lot of let the cord blood pulse through, not cut the cord as soon as the baby comes out, like all these beneficial things that some hospitals simply won't let you do because of their protocols. What is a baby friendly hospital? I mean, what is a hospital if it is not baby friendly, like unfriendly to babies? It's just it's really insane what is going on. And I don't wanna make it seem like I was cornered, but I really wasn't, like, opting to give birth at home. I just had, like, so many bad situations, and I don't wanna get "Oh, hey, Mr. Carey, I just saw you here. How are you today?" And, thank you for greeting people, Diamond. You're so nice. Hey, Diamond, do you wanna be a moderator? I don't wanna, like, push it on you, but I'll make you a mod if you want to. Anna, I just said a quick prayer for you to feel better, friend, Mr. Carey said. That's so nice, Mr. Carey. Thank you. So I think a lot of the lower fertility rates has to do with like women are talking, the internet is a thing. TikTok has made for this interesting public dialogue, like ongoing conversations that can be had in a certain way that like we don't do on YouTube. And I don't do TikTok, but I like to watch compilations people on YouTube have like curated videos of a certain subject and thrown them all together. And it really is opening a lot of women's eyes. Nobody told me the truth, how brutal giving birth was going to be. Nobody told me the truth. But hey, my mom did scare me. My mom did say things that scared me, but at the same time, nobody really told me the truth. Nobody really tells young mothers in a lot of situations how hard it's going to be, the afterwards, nursing for the first time. Oh my goodness, you literally have to like callus your nipples. It is one of the most difficult things anybody could go through. If you've known a woman that stuck it is seriously so difficult. And I never fault any woman for like deciding not to do it or not trying to. Like, it's such a personal choice, and we are so, like, not supported in this country. And I'm not saying boo-hoo, poor women, because a lot of it is women not supporting other women. So trust me, I'm not saying like it's like total patriarchy, man against the woman. It's like women don't even support each other. But until we have actual maternal, like paternal too, like we need to have, we're the only first world country that doesn't pay for one or both parents to be off work for any significant amount of time. And I absolutely think that has something to do with mental health being poor, with people not wanting to have children of their own. There were so many people that were parentified because their parents both had to work, or they were, had a single parent. In the way it's so sad, but the American dream turned into us all being like, slave um wage earners. I don't know who Zara is. Zara, I'm sorry. I usually wait until somebody's been around a few times. And did you say you want to be a mod, Diamond? And well, nobody has to be here either. But yeah, the medical gaslighting that I faced as a woman, for anybody that doesn't know, for 10 years, I fought precancerous lesions. And I had a few doctors say after like 5 years, I wasn't asking for a hysterectomy at first, but after 5 years, I'm like, okay, I'm sick of the biopsies. I had one procedure to remove a mass, completely awake, absolutely nothing to numb me, removing a mass from what is essentially the top of your vagina. And yeah, I'm sorry. Disclaimer, medical stuff is going to be talked about here. And two, three, what is it? Four doctors, I think it was three doctors, said I would have to have advanced cervical for them to give me a hysterectomy. That basically I had to go from being precancerous to official cancer, one of the worst forms of cancer a woman could get, in order to give me a hysterectomy. And they even said, I don't think it's your body unable to fight. I had both risks of HPV, both the two highest risk strains. I had both of them simultaneously. And they said, it's not your body unable to fight it. You fought it off, but your husband cheated on you and came back to you with those exact same two strains of HPV. That happened. That's like what they chose to believe over clearly I have other autoimmune disorders. Clearly my body isn't able to fight this persistent HPV infection, and it's been 10 years. I am on my way to developing cervical cancer. Oh my goodness, if anybody is a good candidate for a hysterectomy because of any of that, it would be me. So I think I know I'm not the only woman that has been through so much. They give us biopsies completely awake. And with this do as thou wilt, do whatever makes you feel good culture, everybody's out there having unprotected sex, which is a huge problem. And I just think that there's a lot of women that have been through hell, and the medical gaslighting is a huge part why the fertility rates will continue to plummet. Once again, this includes women too. This is female doctors. One of those doctors, both of those doctors were female doctors that said it wasn't my body unable to fight it. It was simply my husband cheating on me. Like, what are the odds that that would even happen like that? Um, Cancer is mostly undiagnosed early on to get you stuck in treatment costs, Sam said. Yeah, that makes total sense. They're going to do everything they can to make money off of you, unfortunately. You were constantly told, oh, what children will do to you. Oh, Yoder, I'm so sorry. Anna Yoder Family Farm just had surgery recently. So everybody think good thoughts for her and pray for her for quick, swift healing. She's been through a lot. Bill said, here in Australia, both parents get 24 weeks paid parental leave. Not sure if it's at set rate or if it goes on what they earn weekly. That is so nice. That would be absolutely life-changing. If people got that automatically here, I know there would be more babies being born, enough to significantly improve the fertility rate or whatever. I don't know. But like I mentioned before, it's like I do support MC Punk said 80% of America has HPV. Right, and that's part of what the doctors would say. Like, this one doctor basically made me feel like I probably got it from a toilet seat. Like, it's not even an STD, but, like, I don't agree with that. No, we need to start teaching our young people that their bodies are precious and, like, why they shouldn't, what they call nowadays, have a high body count, which I think is a silly term, but it's for their own health. It's not to be a prude. I think that God made things like STDs to teach us, like, look, this is for people that love each other, and it gets better the longer you're together and the more of a bond you build. So, like, if we were meant to just like screw whoever every other week or every other month or every other year, why would there be all these horrible STDs? And I get it, like HPV does not affect a lot of people the way that it affected me. But when it's a persistent infection for 10 plus years, like clearly I'm one of the rarer cases where it is developing into, something bad, right? Oh, hey, J Memes, how are you today? But yeah, I would just love to see that happen in our country to get paid parental leave. Um, yeah, well, I do live streams on the weekends, so I don't know if you were in here last week. I thought you were. But after, excuse me one second. I guess I said everything that's in my notes. I really don't believe in RFK Jr. I'm sorry, I wanted to talk more shit about him because I feel like he's somebody who is, he's got a big head and he likes to, he knows he has this big group of people that's very behind him when it comes to the food additives, food dyes, preservatives, all that crap. And he is right about a lot, but he's not going to say anything that's not safe, you know? And he's not gonna really cause any change, in my opinion. I wouldn't even doubt it if this was like something where, oh, I go deep with the conspiracy theories and be like, that's kind of far-fetched. Yeah, but like I wouldn't doubt it if he was somehow propped up there by the big food companies or something. You know, like um if we admit we're taking this out because we know it's bad, then that makes us look worse than if, you know, some politician like waved a flag and, oh, it's all gone. And I just think anything's possible. And he's really, really not genuine. I saw him speak in 2012 when a group of vaccine injured people, I'm mispronouncing that on purpose. I was injured by an H1N1 flu vaccine in 2010. It was a 2009 vaccine, but it was at the beginning of 2010. Obviously, the pediatrician had to get rid of her stock because it was the last dose in the vial. I think that might be one reason I reacted the way I did. And that did have mercury in it. It did. And if each dose isn't shaken correctly enough, you know, it will just settle in the bottom even more. So there's a chance I got even more than a regular dose, just a chance. I'm not saying for sure, but I was severely affected by that. There was this conference. Dan Burton was a part of it. He's a former senator or congressman, I'm sorry, I can't remember, of Indiana, who had a vaccine injured grandson and was very outspoken about it. And it's like, oh, here's these guys that are going to like help make the rest of us that know the truth about it's not one size fits all look a little less crazy. And this is not medical advice for anybody. This is just me sharing my opinions. Like nobody make any medical decisions based on anything I say. I'm just a poor Kentuckian that works in a factory. I am not giving anybody any medical advice. But I went to Chicago to see him speak. And what RFK Jr. said 13 years ago made me turn around and walk out of the room. It pissed me off so bad. He said, share your stories with big pharma. You catch more flies with honey. Like, you know, it's all about how you say things, not what you say. And it's like, so we really thought you were going to support us. Like you were going to do something. Like, don't you think people have tried to share your story with a company that's immune from liability to what they did to you? Like, what good is that going to do? Okay, I'm going to read a few comments and get more into the comment section because thank you, J Memes. If you're talking to me saying keep up the good work, you need those chemicals to get people sick to then hook them on medications, Jesus said. Right. Um, yeah, people just walking around from it doesn't mean it you were whoring it up either. That's true. I mean, you could get it like by kissing somebody. We're talking about HPV here. There's dozens of strains of HPV, but when it comes to like, you know, the way we treat sex and how casual we are with it, and especially the adult media that kids see nowadays, it's so encouraged to it's just not safe. It's not ever 100% safe. And that's what we need to teach kids. And it's not to scare them. It's just so like they don't end up in lifelong consequences. And okay, generic said, unfortunately, every time a woman doesn't carry a child to full term, the fat. I thought you were leaving a troll comment. Is this for real? The fat globules in her chest aren't develop into type 3 and 4 goblets, which are cancer resistant. This isn't discussed. Oh, okay, generics. I have heard that women who were pregnant are less likely to have breast cancer. So I'm probably talking about the same thing you are. Billy Nix from Owensboro, Kentucky. How are you doing today, Billy? Dwayne, I have no idea who you are. I'm sorry. And what would you want to debate about? I am kind of wary about, especially if you're Skipper Jones friends. I'm sorry. Like Skipper's never said anything mean to me, but I know that he's like a Titus Morris fan, and I don't trust anybody by association if they're like a fanboy of Titus Morris, you know. Sorry, but I know that somebody could sabotage a live stream if they really wanted to. I don't know if you would have your camera on though. But yeah, I have no idea who Dwayne is. Daniel, what do you mean by what's my type? I am married for 15 years. You can explain what's going on in the world pretty easily, Dwayne. Well, then do it in a few sentences in the chat. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be rude, but um, I think there's so many factors right now. There's so much going on. You know, it's in our food, it's in our water, it's in our air. And I saw this really good, I think I reposted it on my post. This, gosh, what is his name? What is his title? He's like a conservationist explaining how grass, the roots for our grass, like the turf we have in most lawns, is like an inch, 2 inches long, not even. And native species that should be in our soils are like a foot, 2 foot, you know, like very long roots. And these root systems help cleanse our water. It's not just about the pollinators and all the animals that can be positively impacted by having more of a habitat. It's about our groundwater gets more cleansed the more we have native species or this grass that's not even supposed to be here. And it takes more water than if we had the native species. Who's saying, yes, we're all Trump supporters? All right, speak for yourself. I don't know exactly what you're saying, tacos. I'm sorry. Not about kids when it comes to adult. I don't know what your comment is about. A lot of these comments, I'm kind of lost in the sauce. Happy birthday, Nick. Hope you're having a good birthday. Okay, so I've made a few videos about this before, but when you create dopamine rushes to the same stimuli repeatedly, it will change structures in your brain. And that is what is happening when people get addicted to adult media. Same thing, you know, like the romance novels or whatever that women tend to lean more to. It's not what is actually going on when you're really with somebody, and it will make it harder. That's why a lot of men are suffering from ED at younger ages. And it's I don't wanna say brainwashing. What gosh, I'm sorry, what is a better word for that? It's conditioning you to, sex being a certain thing, and never before in the history of time have we had this available at our fingertips, and there's just something to be said about, like, men watching other men in them and, like, it's completely fine if you're not straight. I oh my gosh, like, I'm so like, if you're bi or gay, like, that is completely fine, but I think it might be oh my gosh, how do I say this? It might be impacting men in certain ways that we're, like, not really acknowledging, like, watching other men penetrate women. Like, I put monetization on this stream, that was a joke. I pretty much stopped eating meat and afraid of most fruit because of pesticides, Billy said. I understand that, and that's one nice thing about growing your own, right? It's, like, the only way you can really trust it, and of course, if you have some nearby farmers that you trust. Fescue, like the grass, I don't have a big opinion on that, Jesus. I think RFK meant the whistleblowers at pharma companies or who assess the feedback from the public. Some companies like Theranos suppress that stuff, but others that feedback gets to scientists. I understand, and that's fine if you want to give them room benefit of the doubt, but I really think that they're all the same and they say whatever they can to get voted in and whatever they know will make them look good, but I don't think any true change is taking place because of RFK Jr. I don't. I'm a no supporter. I don't like either party. I just want what's best for all people. Don't like the sides. Yes, I feel like they're two sides of the same coin, and what they're doing, especially in the last 10 years, is just dividing all of us. I think like the Democrats letting the immigration happen the way that it did the past several years, because I've also been vocal about like I'm not supportive of this, but at the same time, I'm not supportive of how they're using ICE to deport people now in inhumane ways either. And it was all done on purpose. Like they wanted this all to be turned inside out, basically. Adult online content is the death of humanity. Unfortunately, that genie will never be put back in the bottle. Williams said, yes, unless the grid goes down. But even then, I mean, then it's just not going to be as easily accessible for most people. He is a rich kid. You can't trust rich kids. Jesus said, yes, that is true. And that's one reason I don't trust any politician. I used to like Tulsi Gabbard more too, but she's really proven she's a sellout. And it was during the panini. Like, I didn't vote for Trump, but I did want him to win the times he ran. So, like, I was a semi supporter, I guess. But the way he sold the vaccine for pharma, the way he was all about that vaccine, that really was really disappointing as somebody who is vaccine injured. And of course, like, I didn't like, completely your choice if you wanna sign up to take a brand new form of medicine to be injected into your body. It's, like, literally never been made before. Like, I mean, that's your choice, that's your freedom, but as somebody who was injured from a mock trial vaccine, that means they rushed it to market, they did not put it through the usual clinical trials that a vaccine goes through, and, that was a 2009 H1N1, you can look that up, it happened in the late '70s. Same thing, H1N1, "Oh, it's gonna be so bad this year, so many people are gonna get it, we have to rush it to market," and that's what they said with that, "Oh, it's gonna be extra bad this year." And so, yeah, I mean, I should probably do a stream just about the scenes, because I could talk about that all night. But once again, I'm not a medical professional and I am not here to get medical advice, but it is, I have a few really, really good books that do have a lot of good sources that I could definitely give you guys some good places to look. That's not just me sitting here being like, I read this and that about them. But yeah, I don't have Facebook or any other kind of social media. It's kind of a joke what has happened with all the medical stuff whenever it comes to any of that. Like, the people that do promote what I would call more truth about vaccines, a lot of them are crazy pants and a lot of them are flat earthers and things like that, that, like, in my opinion, I think so many of them are so egregiously bad, they are bots, they are to make us look bad. And the last time I was on Facebook, there was somebody that I found had multiple accounts, and it was, like, the exact same person, but slightly different accounts, and they definitely probably were a pharma bot, and I don't care who thinks I'm a conspiracy theorist. It is the most profitable industry, right? Or is it oil? No one is focusing on a higher wage, free healthcare, free education, infrastructure investment in this nation, right, Jesus? And those would be the things that would help with the fertility rates. But everybody wants to continue with the pull them up by the bootstraps mentality. If you don't have what you need, if you can't get there, that's your fault. You're just not working hard enough, or you're working the jobs that are just for teenagers, flipping burgers, and all these things that are meant to keep us down. Is it the vaccine or the dating pool? Um, I'm saying it wrong because I'm trying not to get caught in the algorithm. I'm saying that word wrong on purpose because, the only video I ever made on YouTube talking about it, it was the only video I ever had a claim on, like, within 30 seconds. Green bunny in a bongo. There was a UK incident where one guy's head inflated to 3 times its normal size after taking a child drug. It was around 2005. Oh, that would be so scary. And, it's great that people do let them test drugs. We got furry kids in high school and not one can butcher a chicken, Yoder said. Okay. Well, nerdy locks, like I said, I was vaccine injured, so I have read a lot about it, and so nothing is one size fits all, and there's a reason why in the 1980s our government said they're inherently unsafe, so we have to take away all liability from the manufacturers, or else they're gonna get sued to the point where they're put out of business because all the injuries they can cause are so fast. But of course, they would say that's just because crazy people like me just make stuff up. But I know what it's like to get one and be at the ER that night and tell the doctors, yeah, I just had this flu vaccine. Have the doctors be like, okay, well, it's possible, but it's really rare. So that means it's not what caused this. Because that's why this one in a million, that mentality creates. So, like, when people actually do get injured, doctors will literally say, "This is so rare, I don't think that's what this is," but it could be, and I think it's definitely more than the one in a million. Yes, I have heard the gospel, and I've been open about how I'm not religious on my channel. Hey, Tim, how are you? I guess you're not doing well if you made the sad faces, but I was thinking about you the last time I had a live, and I'm kind of glad to see that you're here, even though you're not feeling great. I'm sorry. There are a few bad people, I'm sorry, there are a few people that have had bad reactions to vaccines, but as a whole, vaccines are good for the community. Could you imagine an outbreak of polio, nerdy looks? Well, yeah, and that's one unfortunate thing about the way they have such a rigorous schedule that they push on people because it makes people not trust doctors when they should be getting the tried and true ones, the ones that you just mentioned. Polio is the only one that has been proven to offer a actual lifetime of immunity for sure too, right? I'm pretty sure it is. I was like, so all the other ones are like temporary at best immunity, like while risking so much. And my mom delayed all of mine until I was 3 because, anyways, I shouldn't talk about all her decisions, but I'm glad that she delayed mine. And I think that might have saved my life. And yeah, people just need to know there's freedom of choice here. Very few states where it's very hard to get an exemption. And most parents that do have exemptions, they have gotten their kids the vaccines you would hope they would get. They just don't get them like the flu one every year. They don't get, all the new ones they add. Like a lot of people think, I'm sure there are people that completely don't get any of them. I know there are. You have to like always acknowledge absolutely all nuances, but at the same time, like people have no nuances. The last couple of weeks, I've been not in a good mood here lately. Tim said, "Well, I don't know about where you live, but the weather is a lot better here, and I hope maybe if the weather's good where you live, you can get out." I know getting outside always makes me feel better, always. Even if you think it's not going to make you feel better, no, people have had bad reactions, but as a whole, vaccines are healthy for the community. Okay, well, nothing is one size fits all. So, like, and herd immunity is a thing unless it's natural lifetime immunity. And like, you can believe whatever you want, but this is my channel and my life. And I think that antibiotics, plumbing, clean water, those things have saved way more lives than any of the other medical advancements we give so much credit to. Seriously, your plumber, people who plumb, those people have saved more lives than most doctors, in my opinion. Oh, like I said, antibiotics, surgery, like, trust me, yes, there's plenty of doctors out there saving lives. But when you look at medical mishaps, like the rate of accidents, a lot of it is because they're overworked, yes, but they make an awful lot of mistakes. So what concerns me about chickenpox is we don't know if it lasts a lifetime. And then are people getting the boosters? When do they wear off? Why don't we do teeters? I just wish they did teeters. Like my kids that got the chickenpox vaccine, I'm gonna try to make sure they get teeters done like in their early 20s because like that they're like some of the first people to get it. Why don't we do teeters to see if they're more vulnerable to get chickenpox in their older years when it's way worse, you know? That's one thing that kind of like what bothers me. And like I said, there are okay, I'm just gonna say this. I really don't want anybody to like hate me forever, nerdy locks. I didn't want to like talk about all this on my channel and you're being respectful. But just think about it like this, okay? This is how people think about it. And I'm not telling anybody what to think. We encounter billions of pathogens every day, billions of harmful pathogens, bacteria, viruses, what have you, every single day. Our immune systems are amazing, right? What about tuberculosis? We don't vaccinate for that here in the US, but it kind of died out and went on it. You know what I mean? And I just wonder about like how many things that would have happened to naturally. And I don't blame other people for thinking I don't trust exactly what these doctors say, or it is not, it's against my religious beliefs to use this vaccine that was made from aborted fetal tissue where this woman wasn't even told what her baby's tissue was going to be used for. Stuff like that. Like, there's a lot of reasons, and I'd rather have, faith in God and destiny than pharma at this point. If that sounds crazy to you, you're completely free to think I'm crazy. But yeah, I just think about that. Like, what about tuberculosis? What about typhoid? There's a lot of things we don't vaccine for here in this country that they do in some other countries. And it's just, It's very subjective. I have green eyes that do have, like, this yellow sunflower in 'em. Genetics play important role. Apple doesn't fall far from the tree. DJ, that is true. And then there's this thing called epigenetics recently where it's like it genetic switches can be turned on and off, like, during one's lifetime, and I think a lot of things going on, like, we haven't even grasped or been we are not even able to identify and to play with the immune system, like, they didn't know, like, what blood types were when they first started to do surgery, and then once they figured that out, like, it was very helpful. I look at it the same like, I don't think they know a lot about what they're doing. "Oh, this does this, that equals good, but what else is it doing in the body?" That's all. And I know somebody who like, it happened to me twice, actually. I bring up the one where I was an adult, but when I was 10 years old, I got injured by an MMR booster, and I wasn't until the flu one that I realized what had gone on because they were taking me and my parents didn't tell me at the time, but I remember going to the child cancer wards and getting all these tests done. They thought I might have had a form of leukemia. I didn't, but it was right after that booster for like once again the same thing. It was never acknowledged. It couldn't have been that. It wasn't that. And if I tell medical professionals that now today, it's just me diagnosing myself, right? But hey to everybody in the chat. What about having screws in your neck? That's a weird question. Homer, unfortunately, the healthcare system could go both ways. Sometimes I see it as a money scam, but then there's actual issues and experienced doctors. I needed and good ones are sometimes hard to find. Yes, Homer. I recently had a surgery to avoid getting cancer. So I completely get it. Like, that's why I don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater, Like, oh, me and the people I love will need the care of good medical professionals. That is not lost upon me. It's already happened. But I can honestly say I've been around more bad ones than good ones. I prefer nurse practitioners. I have had more good experiences with nurse practitioners. But then when you have these acute issues, you've got to go to specialists. And oh my gosh, I've had the worst ENTs. I don't know what it is about the ENT, ear, nose, and throat profession in particular, but those men, uh, TB is less common due to better sanitation, nutrition, and antibiotics. Powder Toast Girl said, yes. And I understand that. And then, you almost wonder what else maybe that could be said for. And like I said, guys, like Tim said, my life hasn't been well either. Well, Tim, have you had to try to find any hobbies? Like, even if you get some markers in a coloring book at the store, like you need, I hope you have something you can do that, oh, thank you for saying that about my eyes because I know they're a little wonky too. Oh my God, I need to mail you a book, then you will understand me more, girl. It has all the cures in there. I use them all. Workers like, oh, Yoder, I would love that. But yes, I would love to learn more about herbs. The same conservationist I was talking about, that guy from Alabama, I posted him on my community, my tabs, or my post. His wife had a great 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 grandma that was a witch in a holler in North Carolina, and there was like this official article about her. She was very well known. It was so neat to see that. I'm like, how special. And there was people that lived like in each holler, because it's just one side of a mountain. You could spend your life, sorry about that. You could spend your life getting to know the plants, just on one side of a mountain. And to think about all the knowledge that people have that we might not. Thank you. I don't consider myself Christian, Bentley. I definitely do lean towards the Bible, but I'm not a religious person. If I had to pick a religion, it might be Christian, it might be Buddhism. My butt surgeon turned out to be gay. Oh my God, I couldn't have been more excited and pleased about that. He said he will make it beautiful again. Oh, you finding humor in all of this. That's great. Well, Mr. Curious, men, it's a little weird when men do it. Maybe not all the time. I don't want to say 100% of the time, but most of the time when a man grooms his eyebrows, it's a little too. You're not supposed to look so groomed there. Nutrition is not taught to doctors, and they definitely don't know about herbs that provided both the nutritional and medicinal benefits. Yes, Hassan, definitely. They spend like 6 weeks, if that, on vitamins. And anytime I've ever, they always say take a list of your supplements and herb, whatever you take to your doctor. There's been so many times, at least 6 times I've done that. They never look at it. They don't take it from me. They don't look at it. None of them look into the herbs you're taking. Okay, if I was on some kind of heart medication, they probably would do more due diligence, right? But and then when you look up the herbs, it's like, what about marshmallow root? Every single time without fail on the internet, it'll be like, this has been used for 2,000 years for this, that, and the other. But we don't know if it's safe, so don't use it. It's like, when are we ever going to test all these things that have been used for thousands of years? My spouse has her fair share of health complications, and it gets frustrating. Diagnosed with, I don't know what FAP is, and it's been a journey. I'm so sorry to hear that, Homer. I really am. And it's really rough. I feel for my partner, my husband. I never call him partner. I don't know why I said that. But it's just like, yeah, I feel for both of you. Life shouldn't have to be revolving around getting better, getting well, right? And anybody that doesn't have ongoing chronic medical issues, you really are truly blessed. And just like one day without pain is like being on vacation. But I am getting a CT scan soon. For those of you that don't know, I have two hernias. I might have a third, and I'm on my way to getting that figured out. I'm a Hoosier and we don't like Kentucky. Jesus, I know. I used to live in Indiana, Jesus. I'm from Louisville, but I lived in a small town in Indiana. I don't say exactly where, but I have spoken about that. Like, even when I lived in Indiana, people talked like despairingly about Kentucky. So look, Jesus is somebody who helped to prove my testimony. What do you mean men should not be groomed? Oh, listen, Dee, so I was just joking about the eyebrows. Eyebrows. Like when I'm joking too. It's fine if you do. But when your eyebrows are super sharp and groomed looking as a man, that's not my preference. But I'm married, so my preference doesn't matter to any of you. I look like a vegan. I am underweight. Oh no, that's not a compliment. Like, I do need to gain some weight. Look, I have an avocado by me, but I swear I'm not a vegan. I'm just trying to gain weight because my hernias I just mentioned, I don't want to sit here and like trauma dump, but it's been difficult and I don't eat well. And then I work 10-hour shifts, so I'm like, I need to make some changes because all my pants are hanging off of me. And that's a thing that like doctors will praise you for when you're underweight or at a healthy weight. But like my blood work is still bad. I still have all sorts of things popping up in my blood work that like, the surgeon, she was like, about my white blood cell, just everything. Isn't your husband also your cousin? No, Jesus. Do you have a hernia from all the processed vegan meat? No, no. I have inguinal hernias. Those are in the groin. They're more common in men. I'm just like, and I've had babies, but I've thought like, am I intersex? Not to make fun of it, but like I have PCOS, so I had a high testosterone. I've always been like a high testosterone female, and I have a lot of facial hair, and yeah, I think my muscle, I think I am pretty strong. Like people at work are always surprised by how strong I am at every job I've ever had. Is I think I have like some good muscle density going, but that's probably why I got the inguinal hernias from like moving into an apartment that was on the second floor. Familial adenomytosis polyposis. I know I'm butchering that. Oh, Homer. Well, she is blessed to have a partner like you who I can tell you advocate for her, just being in here talking about it. And I'm just really sorry to hear that. I don't know how old she is, but for some reason, I'm assuming, like your 20s, 30s, maybe a little bit older, but I hope that things only get better and better. I don't know what that is, though. I know when I was in my early to mid 20s, I felt worse then than I do now in my late 30s. And I just hope that for everybody, our bodies are like ever flowing fountains, renewing, cells are dying, are re, you know, being born. I forget the exact, what is that scientific term? And so there's always room for healing. But of course, this sounds like a serious thing. So I'm not saying she can heal from it. But, anyways, I'm really sorry to hear that. Jesus, I have some really nice cucumber plants, a few good flowers, but my garden is not that great. And my pumpkin patch, it's like, They're like they should be longer by now. I'm hoping they'll just take off and start growing a foot a week soon, but it's like it's just crazy. I think the heat has a lot to do with it because I didn't start it until, you know, the beginning of July, and I think it just did not go in my favor. I do not have bipolar, no. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I divorced my sister. She nagged about dishes, joking. I am an only child, Mr. Carey said. Hernia is more common in moms because the abdominal muscles can weaken during pregnancy. Are you a mom? Powder toast girl said, yes, yes. And yeah, the hiatal or umbilical, you're right. There are hernias in the diastasis, the separation of the abdominal muscles, but mine are down low and it's like mostly common in weightlifters. Um, and then I might have one that was just made during my hysterectomy, which is called an incisional hernia. She told me as soon as I woke up, it like bubbled up and she reopened me up to make sure everything was okay. And it was on my side where my hernia is worse down there, like in the inguinal part. So, anyways, I think it's just my luck, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. But if you have a hernia, eat some deer, elk, maybe buy some good Wagyu steak, it should be fine. I wish if only it was that easy, and we did have a freezer full of deer meat we've almost gone through. Don't have time for hobbies or anything. Well, Tim, do you know who Alan Watts is? I don't know if you'd be interested in listening to Alan Watts, but when I've been pretty depressed, I know some Alan Watts has helped me. And some of his lectures can be quite abstract and like you might turn on something that I mean, just I don't know. If you have the time to listen to the live, uh, I would suggest trying to listen to. I know self-help, like it's cheesy, but like Alan Watts is real psychotherapy for the soul, in my opinion. Donuts work very well to gain weight. Yeah, I eat too much sugar. Don't get self-conscious about your looks. You look just fine, William Barry said. Thank you, William. It really is like I am self-conscious, but a lot of it is like not feeling strong too. I don't like being this small and weak. He's chilling with his son and minding his spending time with the kiddo. That's a good thing before summer is done instead of wasting it on drama. Oh, who are we talking about, Yoder? Oh, Tim? Are we? I'm probably all over the place. Oh my goodness, Indiana makes me nuts since husband's family went there. It's nuts. They're not Amish down there. They really are. I don't want to insult anybody that might be in Indiana right now, but there's so many good, nice people in Indiana, definitely for sure. But there's just this air of like you just I don't know. Definitely more people that are a little more stuck up. I don't know. The kind of people you say good morning and they just like look at you and look away. I'm born and raised in California. Oh, I didn't know that, William. When I went to Indiana, I felt like I was in America. I was in America. You weren't in America, you mean? I wasn't used to being around people that spoke English. Oh, oh, it's so funny, William. Yeah, we lived like near Escondido, which is like a half hour from the border. So yeah, colon removed at 17, now 38, but lots of other issues along the way. Oh my goodness, Homer. Wow. Okay, so that's obviously that's super serious. I'm so sorry to hear that. Um, I talk a lot about like all sorts of issues, but like, oh Jesus, yeah, I got a truckload of compost. If anything, I use too much compost. I talk a lot about chronic pain issues and just to like, I don't know if your wife would be interested in my channel, but to help people not feel so alone because I know what that's like and the way people treat pain, the medical profession especially, and I don't know why I just delve into pain, like you didn't even say anything about that, but I just feel so bad for anybody dealing with any kind of chronic issues because I know how they are about pain. And I am not promoting this at all. I would like to say, like, don't use this. Nobody should use it unless it's like something that they are already aware of. Like, I'm not giving any advice, but kratom is something that's helped me, but it's also addictive. And when I had to stop it for my surgery, it was extremely hard. And I didn't feel like I could tell the doctors about it. And I did stop it a week before, but I was trying so hard to do it 2 weeks before. And I felt like I couldn't be honest because I read these horror stories about people getting their pain management like the medication they give you after the surgery taken away from them because they were honest about an herb they took before surgery. And it's like people resort to things like that because the medical profession is just when I go to a doctor about an issue, is one I haven't seen before, especially, I will preface it. I'll be like, I'm not here for pain pills. I don't want any kind of pain management because I know I'm going to sit here and complain about pain to you. And once again, a poor factory worker, they're going to like jump to all the conclusions. I'll never forget how beautiful, green and beautiful Chesterton, Indiana was. Oh, William, have you ever been to Kentucky? You haven't seen green till you've seen Kentucky. But I'm not saying you're wrong. My Swiss grandpa said Henry, was it Henryville, Indiana, was like the most beautiful place in Indiana to him, and he just loved the hills there. Tim, you need to get a motorcycle or buy a Miata. Fun fact, Jesus, I went to prom in a Miata. Well, thank you. I'm getting such nice compliments on my eyebrows tonight. Thank you, PK. I haven't had time to tell anyone like and subscribe, not required at all. If you want to support through super chats or membership, thank you, Mr. Carey. I'm not doing much with my memberships now, but I do like, of course, you know, the more I just had a live earlier, but like definitely intend on doing more edited videos and having more for the members. Alan Watts for depression, like what are his credentials? Oscar, okay, if I said for depression like that, I'm sorry. I don't mean like that's not a claim I should be making. Alan Watts, I mean, if you don't know who he is, he's an academic. He's like studied religion. Unfortunately, he passed away in his 60s and he's been gone for a while, but there's many good lectures he has, kind of like people might consider new age, but it also encompasses a lot of older philosophies, Buddhism and Hinduism. He was a grew up, I'm sorry, I don't know if he grew up Catholic or Christian. I should know this, but he grew up very super religious himself and knows the Bible front to back as well. And I really like listening to him talk about life in general and making sense of it. I'm way far behind our Amish family in Middlebury, Goshen, and then just across the border in Michigan. That's neat, Yoder. I've always wanted to go to the Indiana Dunes. Hi, Fishing Queen. How are you if you're still here? All I see for Mr. Carey, breasts HK. I don't have a favorite football team. It's weird. The prettier a woman is, the more self-conscious about their looks they are. Well, William, do you want to hear my theory on that? I'm from Kentucky, Abdul, where I live now. Um, like I've mentioned this before, and I probably sound like a broken record, and I'm sure there's probably people who are like, I'm sick of hearing you say this, but it's true. Like the first ENT I went to, he said, we can take care of the bump on your nose for $2,000 more. And you're talking about my deviated septum. Like, what? Like people think when you're pretty, they can say whatever they want to you because you've got the pretty privilege. Like it's like a shield or something, but they don't understand. Like, I mean it. Growing up, every person that told me I was pretty also told me I needed to get a tan or it's too pasty or pale. I'd be prettier if I had a nose job. Oh, and I'd be even prettier if I had a boob job. I'm not kidding. Like I got told to get a nose job and a boob job dozens of times. And I almost feel like, so this is what I've said to people before. You make fun of my looks. Like you see something that you are threatened by, or in a certain way, you make fun of people's looks because you like what you see to a certain extent, right? And I saw this other YouTuber say that. It's like people don't take the time out of their day to insult you unless they're trying to tear you down for a reason. So like even a diss is like a compliment or whatever. But like when you're developing, when you're a teenager, 20-something-year-old girl, I had a jealous, narcissistic mom who told me you're not that pretty all the time. She'd say stuff like that. So, you know, that's my story. And that's what I feel. Mechanical engineer in Dubai is a good job. So that's what I feel like a lot of attractive women, and like, don't get me wrong, I do not think I'm like 8 or 9 or 10 at all or anything, but like, I think a lot of pretty women go through life getting constantly negged, they call it. That's like a term like guys will use on purpose, trying to put her in her place. And it's like, you think that people have always been propping her up, but it's kind of the opposite. Homer said they pushed pain meds. She got hooked, but I was able to help her get off. Okay, Homer, I'm going to stop talking about it. You are so okay. I don't. I'm just like assuming you're a man because you say Homer, dude. Good for you. She is so blessed. I'm sure you bless each other, but gosh, you're born in Indiana, Mr. Carey said. Hi, TWC. I learned today that when perimenopause starts, our estrogen goes down, but um, estrogen is key components that work with pain reception. Oh, receptors, which why men seem to whine more when sick. That, oh gosh, that does make a lot of sense. Yes, and estrogen is so important for so many things, like our bone density. There's like, oh, the main reason they didn't want to give you a hysterectomy is because but they let me keep my ovaries, and if they would have let the cancer become invasive, like the doctors wanted, then I would have been negatively affected by not having my own estrogen, right? I learned never give pain a voice, P. Vacro said. Well, I think that's very neat for you to say, but of course, it's not gonna be helpful in every situation, but I did hypno babies for our last, birthing experience, and it really did work. Hi, Dean, how are you? And, so I kinda get what you mean, like, if you acknowledge the pain and you're like, "Oh my gosh, it hurts, it hurts, it hurts," it's gonna hurt a lot worse than if you're just like, "Okay, this is a sensation I'm feeling right now," and, you know, "I've been on it for 17 years. Today is 7 days sober," Dean said. I don't know exactly what you're talking about, Dean, but congratulations. Good for you. I hope there's many, many more days ahead. I have a good friend in recovery myself, and I know that's work every day. Wild lettuce is my best friend for pain. I make the tincture and sell it. Oh, that's so cool, Yoder. That's neat. Yes, you would love Kentucky just as much, William. Where the soggy bottom boys at. Tim said his depression has been bad here lately. Well, I'm glad you're still with us, Tim. I'm gonna keep trying to encourage you to find something that makes you happy. Like I keep saying, like anything. Like what made you happy when you were a child, Like, hi Starkey, how are you doing? And when like I bring up any of my medical things, like my stuff with my mom, it really is like I feel like I've healed from so much. Of course, it's constant healing, but a lot of what I wanted to share with you guys is like we're not all of us. A lot of us are on the same path, and I think it's helpful. And there's been so many times where I resonate with something a YouTuber says, and this sounds very parasocial, but like in this day and age, it's just like the any way we can connect with each other. It's so validating to hear somebody else say things you've been thinking. And um, I am no contact with both of my parents for different reasons. Like my mom is an absolutely great grandma. Couldn't ask for a better grandma. It's just like interesting too. I always kept her relationship separate from the kids, mine and hers. And the older my kids get, the easier that is to do. So I have nothing to do with her. I grow an organic medicinal farm as well. Oh, yeah, Yoder makes videos, generics, and anybody that makes videos on here. Yoder Family Farm Life, she's got a channel. She shares some neat stuff, all sorts of stuff. Anybody else that has a channel, let us know. He said, my girlfriend told me women are naturally jealous. I'd say a lot of women or most women. I don't know why. Like, I don't look at other women as competition. I just don't. But there's this weird sense of like, I've said this before. Like, do you think I'm gonna like get in your trunk, ride home with you, and try to f your husband? Like, what do these women think that like, uh, uh, women like you're a woman, you don't walk around horny all the time like that, right? I don't get why women are so jealous. But the older I get, the less of a problem it is, and that's another thing I like about being older. El Maji, I don't know if you're still here. You asked how is the weather in Kentucky. Where I'm at in South Central, it's very humid. It is a temperate climate. We have all 4 seasons, but a very mild winter. Okay, I shouldn't say that. It can have bad winter storms. Oh, Mr. Carey's probably like, "What?" We can have winter storms. I'm just used to, like, Southern Indiana, 4 hours up north where there's, like, snow a lot more. Granted, as the years go on, there's just less snow overall anyways. It's been raining a lot here in Kentucky. Yes, Diamond. We've already got as much rain as we did in all of 2024, and that happened over a month ago, so we'll probably get twice as much rain this year as we did last year. I think Penelope Cruz is cute. My girlfriend thinks Santa Claus is creepy, yet thinks Jeffrey Dahmer is handsome. Yeah, who doesn't think Penelope Cruz is cute? Yoder being on a live stream isn't a hobby. Well, whatever you do that makes you happy, Tim, I'm telling you, like, uh, I brought this up before, once again, broken record. I really liked Polly Pockets when I was a little kid, and, like, this wasn't even so much maybe it was part of reparenting, but yeah, I bought a few Polly Pockets that had gone missing off of eBay. Like, those are toys you liked. Um, Howdy from the western side of the state. Oh, Mr. Slotty, how are you doing? Cool, Yoda. The country definitely needs more organic farmers. Best hope to save the aquifers, reduce dangerous chemical pollution, and get people healthy through food with higher nutrient content. Yes, generics. Yes, people don't realize like the nutrient density in food that's grown right compared to food that's just grown for commercial consumption, you know, to make the largest quantities and the biggest fruits. Yoder, I'm not kissing a toilet seat. That's not happening. What is going on? Oh, you said, Tim, then kiss a toilet seat. I'm trying to make you feel better. Oh, we should have a dare. I was looking at like live stream ideas, and there's this idea where you can write down like dare ideas and be like, okay, once we get to like $10, I'll do the first dare. Isn't that funny? And I was like, but what would I do? Okay, I'm sorry. I'm trying to make it through. Oh, and thanks, Lockheed Martin. I did go to school for journalism, but that's another thing my mom shot down. Like, that's another with narcissistic parents. Like, literally everything is a bad idea. Everything you ever want to do in your life and everything was bad for my self-esteem. But becoming a parent was healing. And I know a lot of people would probably say I shouldn't say that. I'm not saying I would like use my kids to reparent myself at all. Hi, Luato Luatobom, am I saying that right? How are you? It's winter in New Zealand. Oh, that's neat, Gavin. Luato, I like that. Luato. Ice cream would be good, Lockheed. How much received? I don't know what you mean by that, Elvis. Oh, thank you, Okie. Hello from Amish country, Ohio. That's neat, Starkey. Yes, I definitely will never have an OF. If I did, it would be like a joke and it would be like sewing tutorial. No, I wouldn't have ever, no, that wouldn't even be a joke I would do. I was gonna say, there's this one, who was it? One of you might know. This woman that said she was gonna like go to OF and then, but she didn't post nudes like people thought, but it was really funny. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? She like hyped people up like she's gonna post her nudes and she didn't. I'm sure I would never get that big on YouTube because I'm too honest and genuine with all my opinions. And I don't mean to, like, it's just true. That's why I fluctuate a lot because I speak my mind and that's going to lend to a lot of fluctuation. You really don't think Penelope Cruz is cute, Jesus? Oh, wow. Okay. There's going to be a different cup of tea, not everybody's cup of tea, but I just always thought she was so pretty. And Selma Hayek, I guess Selma Hayek was more so, well, that's such a beautiful background. Or he said, yes, I got it off Amazon. Go for a long run and kick in your endorphins, DJ said. That is a very good idea. Yes, like I said about going outside, even if you have to push yourself to do it, once you do it, you're going to feel better. Powder toast girl, they need to ban high fructose corn syrup. Yes. And years ago, this was 15 years ago, when everybody woke up to it. I remember Dr. Oz, right? It was somebody on Dr. Oz or Dr. Oz. It talked about it, and we looked in our cabinet, and like we had everything was high fructose corn syrup. Like the drinks we had, the juice, all the like we had Nutri-Grain bars. I remember we shopped at Costco at the time, and you really do. You can vote with your dollar, and the change I've seen since then is heartwarming, but of course, I wish it was completely banned too, powdered toast girl. But there definitely has been like a huge change for the better, and people are waking up. But it's still, I see like ingredients I've never seen before. Like, have you seen the ingredient in Gatorade? It's like ester of rosin or whatever. I'm like, what the heck is this? Like, that wasn't a thing 10 years ago, right? Like, there's so many, there absolutely new things that really creeps me out. And with all my health issues, I would love to completely avoid processed foods. But I definitely, I have like an 80-20 rule. I probably don't really follow that lately, honestly. Devalues. I got the same background from Tamu. Twisted said, oh, was it like $2 or $3, Tamu? I mean, Twisted. Hi, Nat. How are you? Yes, money is debt. So I encourage to try to be as debt free as possible. I know it's a lot easier said than done, but like the more of us that can be less debt slaves, the better. And it's just like a natural thing that's happening now. I think people have kind of maxed out their credit cards and people are taking out loans to get a burrito. Did have you seen the Klarna is going to start recording to credit companies because so many people defaulted on their little car loans that they're gonna have to, like, make some repercussions. It's so sad, and I'm not talking crap about the people that did. I mean, okay, that is pretty bad to take out a Klarna loan to get, like, fast food, but if you did it to get groceries, like, I've been there. I wouldn't fault anybody for that. It's something I'm very honest about too. Like, we're all living most of us are living paycheck to paycheck. There's nothing wrong with it, Zoe. I'm just saying I don't really like him because I think he's more of an exhibitionist than anything. And I mentioned at the beginning the infant and maternal mortality rate is a huge issue in our country. Yes, statistics can be skewed. You can take any data and make it look like any statistics you want to. Somebody mentioned earlier they don't really believe this, but from my research, our country has the worst maternal and infant mortality rates of any first world country, that we spend the most on healthcare. And if RFK Jr. really wanted to do anything, I think he should start there. I think the first day of life would be a good place to start. And he just said, "Oh, I didn't say this. This was written in my notes," which I am pro life personally, but pro choice for other women. I'm a centrist when it comes to like everything. I can't stress that enough. He said, "Oh, yeah, I mean, taking away funding from certain programs might negatively affect the infant and maternal mortality rate." And that kind of sucks. But like, maybe we can do something about some funding and some other programs to help it. He said that, and he said he wants to take seed oil out of infant formula, which, yes, that is good. I'm all about that. But he could try to implement obstetric crash carts. If I found this out years and years ago, like I know this is Dr. LaGrue in California implemented obstetric crash carts in the labor and delivery rooms in the county he worked in, significantly improved outcomes. I don't know why they don't do this other than they simply care so little about us average Americans. Okay, let me catch up a little bit. Thank you, Mr. Lotto. You can't devalue a fiat currency. It's just a tax credit, Jesus said. Oh, yes, we're getting into that. I know I think we're all more on the same page than different. But I'm not saying anybody's right or wrong, but I definitely think it all went downhill when the Federal Reserve was created, for sure. We stopped backing our currency with the gold, right? It's about 60 degrees in Moscow. Hi, Aaron. Hi, Boulder. How are you? I feel bad for saying this. Meghalaya, I don't even know. Is that a country or is that a city? I'm sorry. Is that a Mexican flag? I should know. He doesn't need to be a doctor to fix our broken nutrition, Zoe said. Right, right. And I hope I'm wrong. Like I sincerely hope I'm wrong. But you know how it is with YouTube titles. I like wanted to put some more words. I mean, I talked about him, but I just thought about him when it came to this fertility rates because, like, some people are talking about it like it is something we need to pay attention to, and even talking about making this like $100,000 tax credit or something that they would give to women that had a baby, and that sounds great and amazing, and like, it, the kind of people that would have the babies to get that money are, oh my gosh, I hate to say it, they're the kind of people that like live off of welfare and brag about. And I've only encountered one family like this. Honestly, I've only encountered one family, and it was while homeschooling, that like bragged about how much they milked off the system. I know there's more out there, but I'm just saying, like, I really don't believe that most people who live off the system are bad or doing so with malintentions that could be doing so much more for themselves. I really don't. But anyways, Selma Hayek and Michelle Pfeiffer drop dead gorgeous even at their current age. Yes. Who did I see? Who was it? Jennifer Love Hewitt. She recently was on a red carpet for something. She looked so good. She just looked so good and healthy and just She looked great, and, of course, people were like, "She gained weight," and it's like, she looked so good, like, we as women, we're not allowed to age or, like, our bodies aren't allowed to change at all, it's like, I really feel like I know they choose to be in Hollywood, but Powder Toast Girl said, saying not a fan of abortion, but also not a fan of controlling choice. I wish there was more birth control options for men. Yes, I completely agree. And, when they were testing the birth control pill for men, they stopped because it gave them tummy aches, it gave them headaches, it gave them acne, it made them gain weight, it made them feel bad inside. It's like every single side effect that they stopped the clinical trials for them are side effects that we go through. I think that, like, we have worse ones. I didn't see anybody complaining about having a stroke. But then again, if I had a daughter, I would be like, no matter what he says, use another form of birth control. But I encourage 2 forms of birth control regardless if you don't wanna get pregnant, right? My friend invested in Bitcoin. I think he's kind of a moron piece, and yeah, I hope it works out for him, but yeah, I would be very wary of any of that. I wanna invest in infrastructure, in a farm, in healthy soil, that's in in a perfect world, my kids would wanna stay near, but, like, I know that's not necessarily gonna happen, but I really do hope they do. I'm just glad they stopped all the junk food on food the stop buying junk food on food stamps, Yoder said. I agree with you on that, yes. Definitely, most definitely. Like, there's things I see every day that I'm like, "Oh, that does make sense." Sorry, Nat, I'm not trying to ignore your print money from thin air and have the people pay it back with interest. Right, and everybody said that. I'm sorry I'm talking so fast, Bob. Everybody said that when they were giving us those stimulus checks, you know? I say everybody. A lot of people were like, "This is gonna bite us in the butt later. It's gonna be, like, inflated." Okay. Jesus, people have a difficult time understanding that when they take out a loan, they are printing money, and when they pay it back, they are deleting money. Yes, and they don't teach us anything at all in school, right? Especially it's almost like abstract as people. Generics. I mean, RFK is the most successful attorney in modern history and spent his whole career filing and winning lawsuits against corporations that are harming public health. I mean, that's quite a record. Well, I didn't know he was literally the most successful attorney in modern history. I really didn't know that, and that is good for him. But, like, his family name has carried him far. I'm like, yeah, I do have a chip on my shoulder about my experience with him. He didn't help any of the people that went to see him talk back in 2012. He was just like, "Go share your story with them." And, like, people did try to do that, and they're not gonna listen when it's for a product that they're immune from liability for, you know? And I think it's just like it really hurts my heart knowing the people that, like, get their hopes up and think there might be a change. I don't expect anything from anybody, but I sincerely hope I'm proven wrong. Like, and I think he is doing good things, but as I said, with the high fructose corn syrup, like, it used to be in literally everything, you guys. Like, it is still in too much, but remember, it was in everything. It was the first ingredient in, like, every juice, juicy juice, soda. It was literally every processed anything was high fructose corn syrup was the very first. Like, we are making improvements, and yeah, vote with your dollar, but trust me, I got generic, Walmart Doritos in there, and I know that, like, that has MSG and a bunch of bad stuff I should be avoiding, but yeah, no, trust me. Ellen DeGenerate, I remember you before. I don't know anybody who accepted a stimulus check apart from people trying stand-up comedy. Understanding finances and home economics should be a required learning in school, Powder Toast Girl said yes. Hey, John Henry, I've been here. How are you? And how have you been? I'm going to do my lives Saturday, Sunday, Monday because I work Tuesday through Friday. I'm getting a CT scan because I have hernias, and I'm really excited to next week when I talk to you guys. Hopefully, I'll have some answers, and I might be getting another surgery. RFK won't talk about universal healthcare ever. Yes, and see, once again, I'm a centrist. Like, I would love universal healthcare, but it's also like it would be so like we already have a shortage of medical professionals. I couldn't imagine how hard it would be to get into some specialists the way it is already. And like Of course, that's not a reason to always never have universal health care. I don't think that. I think we need to make it easier for people to become medical professionals and like gear up and be we need tons of medical professionals because we're getting ready to give universal health care because we're like the richest nation or whatever. One of the richest nations and we can do this. Instead of the richest people wanting to add more money and their piles of money. Wasn't that weird? I just realized Skipper Jones in here saying trying to get me to get Dwayne to come up here. I'm not a fucking idiot, Skipper. I'm not gonna let any minion, Skipper, anybody that has anything to do with Titus be like, "Hey, I wanna hop on your live stream." I actually offered for somebody to do a live stream with me, and she didn't respond to that email, and then heard something else she said that was shitty, and I'm just like, "Okay, I'm not doing a live stream with that person because like, um, you know, I don't trust anybody. And if you have the wrong person on your live stream, they can show something that could literally get your whole channel deleted. I've seen it happen to people here on YouTube. So it would have to be somebody that I'm like really trusting and they're going to show their camera. And it's just funny to me, like Skipper's obviously this huge lurker. I would just like, the only thing he shows of himself is like him and this little boy. Is that his little kid? Like any father to hear of the shit that Titus Morris did and to still like stand behind that, I think his hard drive needs to be checked. I feel no threat from anybody in Casey County. I think it would be funny. I would make so much YouTube content out of it if they subpoenaed me to go to court. If they did anything to affect me in my personal life in any way at all, you guys don't understand how I am like a dog with a bone, okay? If you mess with me like that, all I did was say, this public record, I'm going to make it more of a public record because people need to know and they're trying to act like they're starting a church and a ministry actually going to help people, inviting people, though I've never seen any other YouTubers invite people to the place they live the way that they do. It is a cult, in my opinion. And yeah, I just think it's funny that he's like this lurker. They probably like I just think they're like mafioso. They're probably running out of money, allegedly, in my opinion, to pay people because when you look at their GoFundMe's, like their most recent one, $20 in 2 months. The well is drying up. People are tired of funding your life. You've got a new life on the way. Like, get your act together. Somebody needs to get a job. And I don't think it should be the 40-year-old woman with child either. Titus needs to get a freaking job and quit talking about suing people in court. You have a child on the way. There's no living off of $40 a month anymore. There's no living off of GoFundMe's either. There's no ministry. You literally were handed $250,000. You can't even finish a building. And like, could you imagine what they could have going right now? They had over $250,000 handed to them. And it, it's mind blowing. People see their pregnancy announcement. Okay, I'm sorry, guys. It was just the first time I've seen Skipper, and like anybody that doesn't know what I'm talking about, I'm sorry, but he used to be in every single live, and then for like 2 weeks he wasn't. Um, I would go as far as to say if you're under 40, you shouldn't even be forced to have healthcare. Obama really effed us. Imminence of oops. Yeah, we lived in Florida whenever that happened, and it really effed us then. Here in Kentucky, you don't get penalized. DJ, my uncle took a laxative once a week. He lived to be the age of 101. Really? He said it was important to flush your system. I mean, that does make a lot of sense. And colon cancer rates are going up. I think it has a lot to do with all the crap in our environment and crap in our system. So, I mean, that does make sense. Or at least really make sure you're regular, at least, you know? Yep, told you, Yoder said. And by universal healthcare, they mean universal vaccines and universal prescription drugs. Right. I don't trust anybody either, William said. Generic said, you make good points. I also get frustrated with how corrupt the system is in general, and definitely it's hard to keep up hope for real reform in government or in corporations. Right, Generics? I'm at this point, and I say this a lot, like in my opinion, I think we're at the end of a cycle. It might be 500 more years until the cycle's really ended, but like we are at the end of a cycle. It's unsustainable, and it gives me solace knowing I believe it's happened before, right? And like the world will basically renew itself. And that's why there's all these remnants of ancient technology. Like we found things that look like batteries from thousands of years ago, and like, oh, we didn't know they had this technology then. Well, I believe this has happened before, and people really messed with the planet. And I do believe in a higher power and being connected. I am so far behind. I just had to go off about it. He looks kinda rabid lately, he's so unkempt looking, what's the deal? Like, it's the hottest part of the year, and I saw the shorts from a year ago where he's, like, goofing around in the parking lot at Walmart in the cart, and his hair was, like, parted to the side and combed, and he looked like a neater person, and now he looks like a freaking wolf man. Yes, Diamond, they just announced they're pregnant. You should go look at the shorts, it will be the most odd pregnancy announcement you've ever seen in your life. And no, I'm not saying anything bad about the unborn baby before anybody takes it there. It's a cause to celebrate new life. I wish them nothing but the best. Like I just said, I don't think Stephanie should be the one to work. I think she needs to take it easy. She had a complicated pregnancy, her last pregnancy, and that felt like therapy. Otis said, sexy. You're so funny. And okay, so Diamond, I don't know if you're interested, but if you look up like Titus Morris, because I do this, I look up like Titus Morris and then put last week whenever I do look at his content, because they have so many channels. And it's like the shorts where it's like cut off. So it's like his face is like this, because that's what they had to do, and her face is like this. And they're so damn awkward and weird. And he's like, we got something to tell. we got, yeah, we got, we got, and she's just like, and it's the most bizarre pregnancy announcement I've ever seen in my life. I don't know why they have to act so coy. You guys both do YouTube for a living. We all know you're not shy to be on camera. Like, on camera and spilled your guts about your horrible divorce and things about your. I don't want to repeat it because I don't want it on my channel. They said things about her children that I don't think should be public information. Titus is talking about that, and it's just like, it's just so crazy to me that they try to act all meek and mild. But I guess it works, right? It works. It makes a lot of people feel good and better about this crazy world. And like, yeah, sorry. There were bottles with vinegar and something else that had a Ting charge, something else. Yes, I think that they had so much technology back then. It's certainly not easy to keep up with the comments, no. But it's a blessing. I feel so lucky to have the ability to connect with all of you guys and be able to, oh, thanks, Kevin, like share my thoughts and have anybody, even when people like disagree with me, like it's been really respectful tonight. And I just really appreciate that. And that's what we're trying to cultivate here. Like I don't think that I'm right all the time. And the only way you can really get wiser is like to put yourself out there and to learn from the world and people, right? And I like to think of myself as like a lifelong student. I didn't get the British casino joke, William said. She missed my comment. It was hilarious, but I'll get over it. Oh, Ellen, now I want to find it. I missed a few comments. I will go back. Oh no, Ellen, you can, if you're still here, my doctor told me the only way I would lose 100 pounds was at a British casino. Okay. That's a very good pun. In my opinion, Obamacare was really great before that pre-existing conditions made too many people uninsurable. That's a really good point, Powder Toast Girl. Yes, taking away the pre-existing conditions thing was definitely something that had to happen. Great point. But when we lived in Florida, we were actually paying for a concierge pediatrician for our special needs sons at the time, where it was like a few $100s a month. And this guy had an at-home clinic. His wife was an ER doctor, and they had X-ray machines in their at-home clinic house. It was so cool. This was in Naples, Florida. So good. Best doctor ever. He gave you a binder to read and said, read this about vaccines and then make your decision. You couldn't tell after reading that if he was pro or anti. It was so thorough. It laid it all out there. Like, this is the good, this is the bad. Yes, there are bad. There are plenty of bad, but you need to know what you're risking if you're foregoing it too. And he was an amazing pediatrician. Amazing. Best doctor we ever had, was put in Parents Magazine because he barely had prescribed any antibiotics, because like he would sit there and ask you like, how do you discipline your children, and like all sorts of like, actually ask about their diet. He was amazing. And because of Obamacare, we couldn't afford that anymore, basically. So I have a chip on my shoulder because of that. But very good point. The pre-existing conditions would have also affected me heavily. I had a fucking fruit fly because of my avocado. I live in the country, guys. I'm not dirty. Everybody has flies in the summertime. Yoder says she could and could not be pregnant for all I see. Wait for ask for more cash or cash and the baby's born. They should not be online as much. Oh, I didn't. You know what, Yoder? I'm so gullible. You're right. Allegedly, supposedly, it could totally be to get more money. They know they're gonna get more money with a pregnancy and a baby and everything, right? And I think they genuinely wanted to procreate. I definitely think they genuinely wanted to do that. That's part of, like, the weird vibe in their video where it's just like I said this earlier to Anna. I'm like, it was like watching Beavis and Butthead announce a pregnancy. They're like it's so freaking weird, and it made me uncomfortable. It's like, "Guys, a lot of us have had sex before. A lot of people have sex and procreate every day. Get over yourselves. You're not special." But, like I said, I'm not saying anything like, of course, wish nothing for but the best for any pregnant woman because I'm not a horrible person. And even when I don't like people, I don't subscribe to their channel and go and thumbs down every video religiously because I don't have a heart full of hate. I don't have to journal in 4 journals to get out my hate. Even if you don't carry insurance, a $1,200 tax return actually saves you money. I would definitely recommend a high protein, low carb diet for everyone, eating only 8 hours a day, not eating 16 hours. I think that's very good advice. High protein, low carb, eating only 8 hours a day. Yes, I totally agree with that. And when I'm in my worst eating habits, I do graze more. It's because I'm not eating enough protein and filling myself up and grazing on the bad carbs, and it's a bad cycle. I think that's what a lot of people get themselves into. Jesus said, powder toast girl. The reason is because they have to keep up the narrative that capitalism is the only way the federal government sets a bottom and writes the rules to the game. Um, Go home. I don't know exactly what you're talking about, but there's been all sorts of like ancient technology they didn't believe would have been in that time period and was. Okay. Oh, and I'm really far behind again. It's certainly not easy to keep up with the comments. I'm that far behind. I needed this. LOL. What perfection before bed. I'm so glad that I'm cheering you up, Yoder. Okay, I'm so. Well, yes, I do have a great moderator, Mr. Carey. I do. That is part of it, of course. But I'm talking about the people that I do acknowledge that disagree with me and are respectful about it. I feel like I've had more of that. And I mean that like, I like that kind of discourse in a good way. Like, have you ever read Strauss and Howe's book, The Fourth Turning? They talk about the cycles in society, how they happen at regular, predictable intervals. Unfortunately, we are due at this time. I know I have heard of that. I haven't read it personally, though, but I know I've heard of like people, a theory they have from that book that's like, we are due. Yes. You don't have to go back, but that rant was seriously the cutest thing of you. Happy husband. I knew exactly what I liked you. You're just like me. Oh, yes. It's so nice. Like, and then when people said something about women earlier, I'm like, yeah, like women can be like so jealous and catty and like cut off. And I understand why men are like, man, women can be so bitchy because like, trust me, I get it. Like, women can be so bitchy to me too. And like all of society, and just like, man, why can't you be nicer? And like, it's so nice to connect with another woman and just be like goofy. You know what I mean? Yes, Mr. Carey, as a volunteer, but once I start, I'm not going to get a check until like I've made $100, which like I didn't get my super chats from like I made like $30 in super chats last month, but I'm not going to get that until I rack up some more money, basically. But yes, like I am the kind of person I will definitely be giving Mr. Carey some thank you when I can. I used to live in Northern Kentucky, Covington. Dean said, what a shithole. Really, Dean? I wanted to get far away from Cincinnati because of the pollution. Cincinnati is behind New York City and LA in our country as far as like bad air. But I feel like we found a sweet spot. I recommend bigger towns, but rural. It helps if there's a university. There's a lot of little universities around here. Just found there's more diversity, less of that. My family's been here 200 years, and there are people like that. Like what we bought was like in somebody's family's name, and their family's land is still next to us, and they have tons of farmland around here. They couldn't be nicer. They're like the nicest freaking people. They're like the opposite of, you know, territorial, "I don't like your kind around here" type. "Oh, hi from Greece. I don't know if you're talking to me or but hi." "Hi, Thomas." "John Henry, it's so nice that you're in here again. I'm glad to see you again." Maybe it was their first time and they nailed the landing. I watched it. They don't agree on the name, Diamond said. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I think that it's easy for them to be, like, all coy and hee hee on camera, but could you imagine I've said this before, I think Titus must be one of the most stubborn people. I don't know him personally, no. Aaron, I've never been there. I haven't even been there. Aaron Atz, if anybody doesn't like, he said, "Why are you speaking on this? You've never even been there." I don't have to go visit in person to know that he committed bestiality for over 10 years, dropped his pants in front of a child, a 12-year-old child, and started cutting on his foreskin in front of a 12-year-old child, and got nude in front of children on other occasions going skinny dipping. Like, I don't need to go there and meet him to confirm any of this. I saw him testify in a court of law. I really like that said it all. Aaron said it all. And now he's in Casey County, like with his son again, apparently, which is like, I get it. Kentucky is great. Like, I get it. But to make your life revolve around that town for that, and I did see Henson Short with the court, and then he's like, there's Aaron. I'm sorry. I know, trust me, I wish I could. A part of me wishes I could go. I knew about the court Monday. I wish I could go, but, like, they're such crazy freaks. I know they would, like, follow me home. They'd get my license plate number. Their little Sheriff Weddle friend would run my license plate. They do whatever the freak they wanna do with my information, whatever that is. Like, what are you gonna do? What do you guys wanna do to me? What do you wanna do? Just make sure you do it while I'm home, because I work at a factory, because 'cause I'm the only adult in this situation that actually works a job. And I would love for you all to take me to court and sit there and say that to people of the court, same court system that failed to prosecute an obvious person who's endangering children and animals because he cuts his hair like an Amish man. It makes me sick. And yeah, I would be able to be more composed, okay? I wouldn't be like Titus, and they wouldn't have to tell me to shut up every 5 seconds because I can't answer a yes or no question. But I would be able to say it enough, I would say enough to let them know where I was coming from. Yeah, take me to court. Do it. You want to. I'm the only sane person in this situation, okay? Oh, Bertha's in here. How are you, Bertha? Good night, HK. Yes, this TWC, this is somebody I spoke out about, and they made a GoFundMe insinuating, which they do really do have stalkers and lurkers. Like, they do have people that can't seem to get enough that walk up and down their street, which I called out as weird behavior, right? Like, so I don't necessarily know that they were for sure talking about me, but it's like I feel like it's been insinuated, and they have this friend, this lurker skipper that comes in here just to let me know he's like watching me, which like that's the whole point of YouTube. None of you make me feel any certain way. And Stephanie, every time you come in here with your 3 or 4 accounts and thumbs down my shit 3 or 4 times in a row, it seriously makes me laugh because your anger is part of why I can get the thousands of views I think I've gotten on this live stream, that I can go live and get any decent amount of views, likes at all, and engage with people. I think that like you guys could never do that. They have a ministry. People come to talk to them for advice. Why don't they ever do lives? Could you imagine how successful that would be? I bet people would eat that up if Titus Morris went live. What if he did a live sermon? What about that? They would love that. Oh my gosh, they probably have people paying them like $10, $20 memberships to be a members only sermon. But then they'll say some bullshit about how, like, oh, we wouldn't do that, but we wouldn't do that. But you'll live off of people's hard earned money through GoFundMe, allegedly. There's somebody I unprivated a video. I unprivated some older videos. If any of you are interested in any of my content, and you can see I can make edited videos and do a good job. And one of them was on this guy that ate raw meat. And he reminded me so much of Titus. He's also a cult leader. He would go around, mock everybody for working jobs, make fun of like the people for living in the system and being a part of the rat race, but he was completely dependent on people that lived in the rat race and worked a job. He was like the oh my gosh, I'm just like talking about how everybody should eat raw meat because that's what's natural. He's like sitting there eating it from like a styrofoam container from the store. Like, are you kidding me? It'd be completely different if he was out there like hunting, right? And yeah, so that was my first foray into like YouTube. I'm making content, reactionary content about this person that has a big following and they're going to like be mad at me. Oh, I might have been ratioed in the first Titus video I made, but I didn't quit. I made another one. And I said I thought he might have been harmful towards his GF at the time, and it turned out I might not have been wrong about that. Like I called out a lot about a lot. And once again, I feel very conceited right now, but I hope you guys understand where I'm coming from. Any one of you that was interested in making YouTube content and made an edited video about somebody, you would hope that it would get views, right? And you understand it's going to be bringing on possible backlash or whatever, but when the things that they could hold against me, like if they figured out my last name, did like what they probably had, they probably already know who I am. And they probably already done a background check and saw there's nothing to see. I've got nothing in my background that I haven't already divulged and talked about on here. Like I made my promiscuity, I like use it to encourage people to do better. And if I was somebody like Titus and Stephanie, I think like with all of their background, I would simply not feel like it was my place to have a platform to minister the gospel to anybody. I just wouldn't. And I would get a job. And that's what I think you should do. But no, it really is fine if you I keep disliking my videos. That's part of why I've gotten some good views lately on stuff like you, and she pops on here. The very first thing, as soon as I get on here, she's like disliking stuff. And yes, I'm assuming when I first started making the Titus videos, it was like I hadn't made any videos for 7 years, right? So it was like plus 100 subscribers for the first month. So somebody would do this thing where they'd be like unsubscribe, sub, unsubscribe, sub, unsubscribe, sub over and over and over for like hours straight. They're fucking crazy. They are crazy. Nobody should be going to them for any sort of advice or spiritual guidance. Stephanie had to start 4 journals to try to get her shit together. But like, I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. Yeah, I don't feel threatened at all by them. It's about time I make another video because it needs to get put in the algorithm again. Once again, I don't monetize any of that. Like, I know I'm talking about them here, but this is a very small fraction. But yeah, it's about time we get on live and rattle off Titus's bestiality of 10 years, pulling down his pants in front of a 12-year-old, cutting off his foreskin in front of him, and skinny dipping with other minors repeatedly. I think it happened more than once. Like, people need to know this because Mr. Peter Santinello can't seem to understand he's giving him so much traction by keeping that content up. Peter won't go visit him. Remember, they said 2025 he's going to come. Well, here we are over halfway through. I don't think he's going to. Somebody in my live the other night claimed to know him and said that he didn't think he was going to. That's hearsay, but in my opinion, I don't think he would. But just like the love of money is the root of all evil, once again, Peter's going to keep all of Titus's videos. He'll take them off his t-shirt. He's not good enough to be on his t-shirt. I'm Kentucky on Peter's t-shirt, but he's good enough to make him. He probably makes him a few thousand. I don't know, views like that, a few $1,000. Like, he makes so much money. He doesn't have to keep his Titus videos up. You know, they're not like the bread and butter of his content. And I thought, like, we should start a petition, but I didn't know how to start one without showing my last name to try to get Peter Santinello's attention and be like, hey, you dipshit, you quit platforming this person with this history. It's that easy. And you know, when you do, he's still getting all these people that are falling in love with him for the same reason anybody did originally, because they think he is pure of heart. Oh, I am a trailblazer. I like that, John Henry. Okay. Oh, you pulled a stitch laughing. Oh no, Yoder, that's not good. I myself am not a fan of RFK. I don't think you should be in healthcare administrative position, but I appreciate that you seem to have an open mind. Powdered toast girl. I have the most open mind. I mean that. Like, I seriously can't can't stress that enough. Um, I think that that is something that's like a lost art. I always say this. You can understand where somebody's coming from without agreeing with them. And that's what people need to be able to do. I can understand why my neighbor to this side of me might be completely pro choice. I can understand why this neighbor to the other side of me might be completely pro life and the nuances and how we were are so much so products of our environment, not completely, but like yes, married for 15 years. No, John, he was on Peter Santanella's video. Titus Morris, he says he's a minister of the gospel. He dresses like an Amish person, but he's not Amish, but he lives like an Amish person. And he practices Seventh-day Adventist teachings down to a T, but he does not claim to be Seventh-day Adventist. He is, in my opinion, a cult leader. If you go to work with him, you can go visit and not have to wear what they wear. But if you go and work on their farm, you have to dress like an Amish person, basically, which is nothing wrong with that. And they wear more collars and stuff, but like Mennonite maybe, but like women have to wear like the dresses and the long sleeves, and like you have to dress like he says, you have to eat like he says, which is vegan. He doesn't say vegan, but it's veganism. He is that it. I guess you have to worship on Saturday. They believe Seventh Day Adventists. Okay. I feel like I'm rambling so much, but at the same time, I'm having so much fun with you guys. I'm sorry if I'm missing anything. Never do, Peter. Yeah, Sabrina is a cult, and I'm proud to be a part of it. Oh, John, I'm a happily married woman, and I kissed all that. I mean, I tried all that kissing a girl stuff when I was younger. I'm not sexually attracted to women, no. I have no desire to ever kiss anybody but my husband. And yeah, I think a lot of women, like I talk about women being pretty, and I like my husband has made jokes before about how like he doesn't think I'm like straight. Like, no, I can appreciate women and their beauty, but I've never had a romantic desire. I think you've been through the experiences and have an amazing knowledge that stretches across all platforms, John Henry said. That is so nice, John. Thank you. I can make peanut butter pie, Tiffany, Mr. Carey said. I got drunk with Amish. You don't have to dress like they do, Calamity Jack said. That's funny. Yeah, it's not funny, but I've seen some wrecks because somebody drank too much, like their horse-drawn carriages. To all of you in Kenya, there's the same thing, same kind of thing legit happening here too. There too, making a compound, asked for cash, yada yada. That's under I am Marwa. Oh. So many scammers. It's like none of us have any money, okay? We're all poor. We all have nothing left to give. Like, you need to have like two jobs, everybody, to even make it, or a job with overtime. It's so freaking hard. Yeah, we do need more kids in this country, funny Republican said. So I don't know if you're interested in watching the beginning, but I covered that more in the beginning. But yeah, my biggest point, my points were I automatically thought, has RFK addressed the infant and maternal mortality rate? Because it is pretty dismal compared to other first countries, even though we spend the most on healthcare. And I think that was interesting. Of course not. Okay, he did say he wanted to fund something about like this program to give people more choices than some abortion, which I thought was funny. Once again, I'm pro-life for myself, pro-choice for other women. So I guess you would say I'm pro-choice. But like for him to bring up that program, no, it's all of society needs to start treating children like they are the future. Like they are so important to all of us, whether they're your children or not. When I hear people complain about paying school taxes, it's like you need to keep in mind you're paying school taxes because one day, God willing, you are going to be an old person who is heavily dependent on those people that went to those schools while you are complaining about paying school taxes. It really is like it's mind-boggling. And I think once again, I see both sides. Like I support women not having babies. I don't think I would want to have a baby if I hadn't had any babies yet. I don't think I would choose to bring a baby into this world. So I completely get it. And it's like we need to start valuing life and supporting women, supporting mothers. we don't have the village that it takes. Hardly anybody does. And unless you're gonna tackle childcare costs, paternal, maternal, like, the leave that every other first world country has, like, you can actually stay at home with your child and not worry about things for a long time. Some countries, it's like 18 months, and you can switch back and forth between the mom and the dad, like, that sounds like heaven, and we think we're the best country in the world. We're really not. We're so behind in so many ways. And, like, the way I understand wanting to be able to go to a restaurant and not dealing with a screaming baby, I do get that. But it's like, there's literally no like, I think that people should be more child friendly across the board, I do. But I think maybe we should have more clear, defined, this is absolutely never like this, because I do get that, but it's like the more people don't have kids, the more I see this attitude that's like completely against kids, and that breaks my heart because that's gonna be so much harder for the parents of those kids too. And I am an autism mom, that's only gonna keep happening more. You can say greater awareness, whatever you wanna think. But, like, our kids need our help, and they're only gonna need more help from us, and I think that's a big problem. Uh, the the way I was when I was 19 years old, I don't think having more programs is gonna help. It's like a societal issue. It's so much deeper rooted than that. When I was 19, I was not with my husband, pregnant by him. We had broken up when I found out I was pregnant. So many people told me to abort my baby, including a preacher's kid. Like, she would like write me messages on was it MySpace back then or was it Face MySpace? Oh, it broke my heart. Like, but at the same time, I kind of like rolled off my back. Like I knew it didn't really matter, and like I did consider it. I considered it. I was 19. If I was in a better financial position, I might have done it at a certain point. But anyways, the way people talk to me then, I don't fall like, so many women don't have any support. When you're having people tell you, "Oh, like, it's gonna ruin the rest of your life. You'll have no life. You'll have no career. You'll never be able to finish school." Like, "Just do this," that's what is coming at so many women. So for anybody that, like I'm not saying anybody here does, anybody that faults anybody for ever having had one, I just think about that, like, we need to support each other better. And there's no better feeling than having a group of mom friends you can commiserate with and, drink a cup of coffee with. And it takes a village, and the village is gone, and women are expected to work. And the economy requires a two-income household these days, Powdered Toast Girl said. Yes, and I feel like we're some of the last. Hi, Magic Johnson, if you're still here. How are you? I feel like we're some of the last people to make it work on like a blue collar income. And granted, there was times when we had two incomes when I stayed at home with our kids. I home educated our we home educated all of our kids, but we have three. It's like it's going to be impossible for anybody to do what we did. Like it makes me so sad. And so then you're put in this place where daycare costs as much as an income, and people are going to be so touched out, put out, stressed out. I am never getting married, Magic Johnson said. Well, you can definitely be completely happy all on your own. There's like tons of people that are happy. I just hope anybody in your situation that thinks like that, I hope you're happy and that's what you want, right? Because there's definitely a lot of people that are thriving, that are single. It's much better to be on your own and focus on yourself than to end up with the wrong person. Girl, yes, people and neighbors don't act like family anymore. Yoder, no. And if we did, oh my gosh. So our first neighborhood we bought in, our neighbors, they were so sweet. When I had the baby at home, they were so great. And it was like I saw this news story where this guy from, oh my gosh, was it the Netherlands, puts a wooden stork in the yard of the family who had a baby recently in his neighborhood because that's a tradition there. I'm sorry if I'm getting it wrong. It might have been Norway, but it's just like the sweetest, most thoughtful thing in like to celebrate new life. And like I did notice it was the older people, and I feel like us middle-aged people, we're not as good at it. And especially, like, the more babies you have, baby number 1, everybody comes around. Baby number 2, almost everybody comes around. Baby number 3, nobody shows up. You might have 1 or 2 people showed it. It's almost like people are like, "Okay, like, are you done having babies yet?" At baby number 3, which is kind of wild, really, because right now it's the lowest fertility rate ever reported at 1.6 children per woman. That's like 1.5999 really, but it we need over 2, right? To replace us and then increase the population. So it's very interesting to me. You know, you guys know I could talk all night about all of these issues. Oh no. Holy Kentucky. Hi, 8. This girl assaulted her neighbor and was caught. Okay. Why aren't you taking care of this, Mr. Carey? No, like I've told everybody before, all the things that I've ever done in my life that anybody could ever judge me for, I've already put on the internet. Definitely has not happened. John Henry, women have an uphill battle. Men need to understand it's a significantly different dynamic. I think that men need to truly step back and understand that this is a truly partnership and give credit. John, yes. So much of the discourse between men and women is now with 2 incomes being the norm, especially women are still expected to do all the most of the domestic labor, most of the child rearing. This woman went viral because she was talking about how her and her husband take turns with who cooks dinner and who puts the kids to bed. And she just had like an onslaught of women being like, "Wait, your husband cooks dinner, your husband puts the kids to bed, like, what did you do to get him to do that?" Because, like, that's how low the bar is, and there are so many great husbands out there. My husband is one of them. Like, when we made the transition from me being the stay-at-home parent to me being the full-time worker, like, yeah, I'm not gonna, like, lie and be like, "Oh, it was easy and great." There was a lot of stuff that I was like, "I would do it like this," and, like, I don't expect you to do everything exactly how I do it, but it's also kind of disappointing to, like, not have the entertainment center dusted once a week, I'm just saying, and, like, so everybody has, their shit they need to work out, right? And it's so exceedingly difficult to be the woman, to have the children, to have your body go through the changes, and just to be expected to do everything for everybody, and and then you're the nag, if you complain or ask for anything more than once. Hi, Ambrose, how are you doing today? Hi, Warrior, how are you? No support in any direction and money's yes, no money, Diamond, so true, like, people struggling just to pay themselves, taking out Klarna loans to get a burrito at Chipotle, like, they know they have no business having children. I can't believe Gabby Petito's death anniversary is coming up, may she rest in peace, Magic Johnson said. I did not remember that, that is true. Rest in peace, Gabby. And, kinda going a little hand in hand with what I was just talking about, the the way men get angry at women, it harms us, it offs us, like, you talk about the angry feminist type, it's like, yeah, that's horrible, they shouldn't be hateful. It's horrible that they don't say thank you when you hold the door open, I get it, I would think that's rude too, like, but at the same time, like, they're not offing you, And that's, part of why women are choosing to opt out. I had 2 girls and 1 boy, Ambrose said, "That's nice." We have 3 boys. I'm doing pretty good. I'm doing a lot better today. I honestly had a really painful day yesterday because of my hernias, but I'm getting that sorted out this week. Powder Toast Girl, Graham, I don't imagine you're a mother. It's an incredible amount of love and work that goes into it. Mothers need support, and that's where the term "it takes a village" comes from. Yes. What did Graham say? I missed it. You don't have to say it, but I'm, uh, but yeah, anybody that dismisses the actual work that goes into it, it's like you just can't help that. Like, obviously, that person has never ever been around any child rearing of themselves. 4 boys and 1 girl I had so early for me at 18. Now I sit back with them all out of the house almost as theirs are just turning 7. I'm enjoying my young, older years without being super old. That's how I feel too, Yoder. Well, we still got our 8-year-old because we had him a little late, but we've got 2 teenagers, and it is really nice. Thanks, Ellen DeGenerate. Robert, people just don't communicate properly. They assume they know what the other person wants, and that never works for anyone. Yes, communication is a big yes, communicating improperly, I am anxiously attached, so I'm one of those women that's like, when I get in a mood, like, I might text over and over, not like dozens of times, but you know what I mean. Like, I get on my husband's nerves, and it is all about communication. And a lot of men benefit from people, their woman writing things down. um, it's an equal partnership. My wife makes more money than I do, and I'm the entrepreneur. I appreciate her and her hard work. Men need to wake up. That's nice, John Henry. Yes, and different times of life, different seasons of life is going to be different. Well, Sticky, I already talked about the topic pretty much. We're just chit chatting now. No, the term "it takes a village" comes from everything else other than the nuclear family, actually. Um, so what are you trying to say, Graham? That like all we need is the nuclear family? Because I understand when people are like, statistics prove that children thrive in the nuclear family the most, but that's not an excuse to just like, stay in an abusive situation at all. There's always nuance, and that's what's so hard to talk about marriage. Because when you're talking about sticking it out and like making things work and how difficult and rough it can be, because notice how that's how married people talk about, and like, I don't ever want to make anybody that's in a bad abusive situation be like, "Oh, yeah, I just need to stick it out," you know? And it's like, it is hard for all of us and, like, way harder for some people. But I don't have a Chipotle anywhere near me. But so I do believe that, we need both. We need the village and we need the nuclear family, and the nuclear family is kind of falling apart without the village. Since my grandmother on my mom's side passed away, like, nobody gets together anymore. It's like once the matriarch of the family passes away, and I know my family isn't the only one that's been affected like that. Like, it's like the social security net, I'm not talking about social security, like the money we pay into in our paychecks. Like, we don't have the same anything. Some of your families, I'm sure, are still tight knit and like do right by each other, but I feel like, we're not ever going to get in the same room again until somebody passes away and it's a funeral. And that's really sad. And yeah, pretty much what someone brings up is a topic. Yes. Yeah, 2 hours. I probably should get off of here relatively soon. Warrior of Love said, my dad and I would fight because I had to point out how he's gonna say I need to buckle down and study when he won't even wash the dishes after getting home, which I would do cutting into my study. Right. Yes, warrior of love. A big point of contention in my household growing up was that it was like the chores and the control over the chores. And I definitely don't play those games with my kids. Mike said, my wife can't cook, literally burns everything. Spartan children were raised by their parents until age 7, after which boys entered the state run. Yeah. And do you really think, are you trying to say people should be raised like Spartans? Warrior, nothing changed. I don't get my hopes up anymore. Yeah. Well, Warrior, it sounds like you're still relatively young. I hope that sooner than later you can be independent, although I know that's like so difficult for anybody, especially starting out. That was in 2021, but I don't remember hearing on the news, but you probably missed it. Okay. So hard staying at home with the kids whilst the father is away from his kids working a dangerous job, isn't it? Graham, I work in a factory. Once again, not everything like is so binary. And I did stay at home for a while with our older two kids. Now my husband stays at home and I work at a factory. People unalive at factories. Not in my factory, but like factory warehouse work is absolutely like dangerous and tough, and you just like should ask who you're talking to before you say certain things. I work from home. I raise pigs. Don't piss me off. It's always our joke in the home. Yoder said. Bill said, I work days. My wife works nights. She didn't need to work nights. She didn't need to, but needed to feel like she was contributing. So I made sure kids were fed, dishes done, bathed, homework done, lunches made for the next day. That's so nice, Bill. See, men that do, I know this is going to sound like I'm a hateful feminist. I don't know how else to say it. Men that do what like women do on a regular basis, like that's like wow. Like Bill, like that is great. Like working, that's true partnership. He's doing what he should be doing. But like when a woman does it, people don't praise her the same. And that was something that I struggled with. And I would tell my husband, like, it makes me resentful how people like are so giddy about you like cooking, but yet they'll, like, call me lazy to my face about being a stay-at-home schooling mom, and I know that's I'm still proud to have a husband that's, like, a good partner, and I would rather have that, but it is something that I had to deal with. I'm really spilling the tea tonight. Well, the number one rule I would say is like to be respectful and to never talk crap about your spouse. Like, I think that that's like a huge rule that a lot of people don't practice well online. And if I ever say anything, trust me, it's been something that I'm like, hey, would it be okay if I brought this up? Or would it be okay with you if I said this about that? Women do not get enough support. No, powder toast girl. I have a family that's drifted apart, and the thing that helped the most was sending handwritten letters with photos of my family. Now, when I go visit those relatives, oh, Robert, that's a great idea. I need to start doing that at least at Christmas time. People should be raised like Jesus. Manny, that would be nice. One of the few photos on their fridge is of your family. Aw, yeah. People don't do that enough anymore. And just having pictures printed out is important in case you lose your memory in your computer. Bill, that's sweet that you are open to that. Some women do need that freedom. Some feel trapped at home. Some are happy at home. Yes, Yoder, that's a good point I didn't touch upon. I still cook 95% of the time, even though the wife doesn't go off to work anymore. That's nice, Bill. Yeah, my husband is now that I work, of course, he's like the cook, but even when I didn't work, he cooked a lot. Maybe not most, but he's a good cook and he enjoys it. And I'm glad to hear that you guys are still together. WAP. Another thing, I don't like how women expect the women and the men to have the men have money and a car and a job. She's not loving that guy. She is only staying with that guy because he's established. That's not love. Well, yeah, but a lot of those guys get with women that they know wouldn't be with them if they didn't have the monetary thing, the material things, and so it is like a transactional relationship, you know? It's like, eh. And women that are that materialistic, that would just use a man for what he has, you don't want anything to do with him anyways. Happy, I talked about what is in the title already at the beginning of the stream. I'm gonna get off of here pretty soon. We're just chatting right now. Why would you say something so controversial, yet so brave? WAP. Liam, seeing these messages makes me happy I'm not married and don't have any kids. Well, I'm happy for you, Liam. I totally support child-free people. Until they start talking crap and, like, you do need some people to have kids, right? Like, when they talk all this crap, and I just think it's really interesting that I've seen a lot of child-free content because I go through my phases, I get to listen to stuff 10 hours at work, like, I'll, like, listen to a certain subject for, like, a week straight, everything I can get my ears on, and I just noticed this, oh gosh, I don't think I'm gonna make anybody feel a certain way. There's so many child-free people, like, that are sitting there talking about how they just don't understand how somebody can devote their life to taking care of another being and all that would entail, and how their life revolves around something else, and their dog is right there. Their dog that they treat like a child, their dog that's like their whole world to them, and they're just like, "I don't understand how somebody could have another being and wanna take care of them." Well, I don't know, why don't you ask your dog? Oh, okay, guys. Believe it or not, it's it's weird, it's like the back of my sinuses gets, like, congested the longer I talk. Yoder, Bill, my brother was married to a woman like that. He worked all day and cooked and cleaned and did all that, except she didn't appreciate it at all. That's not cool. Leave your husband, I have $1.89 million, John said. Brian, my mom had her baby. That's cool. Like, recently? Hi, Samsari, how are you? I bet I've been with more women than you, Manny. I just like my peace, Liam said. Shelly, I'm not sure we are catching all the innuendos. Yeah, I'm not sure I'm catching all the innuendos. Women have been crying about the same SHIT for 5,000 years, yet we are still here. Well, we're talking about like the fertility rate that they announced was the lowest ever recorded fertility rate. But yeah, I mean, women and men have had the same complaints about each other for all of time, right? Weird. As the oldest son, de facto emergency adult, my bros are never held to the same standards or punishments. I hear praise kink or anything, I get hives. Oh, warrior of love. That's kind of how it feels to be a daughter, or like Somebody said this, and I couldn't, it was so true. This is what my experience was, and a lot of when mothers have sons and daughters, they treat their sons like the princesses and their daughters like the help. That's how I was like, "Oh, shit, that is, like, the funniest thing I've heard all year." Oh, yeah, it was the universe's creator who used all these people to invent what was invented without them knowing the people using today, and the motor engine is an example. Who believes me? Delicata said. I'm not I don't know if I'm following what you're putting down. I'm getting a little worn out though. Ignorant, inappropriate, and disrespectful comments will not be tolerated. Okay, Shelley. Well, I guess everybody else that thinks I make sense is thinking I make enough sense. Hi, Nathan. How are you? Tony, I hope this doesn't come off as creepy. Oh, Tony, that's really nice of you. Warrior, nonetheless, I'm thankful for my parents and teachers taught me well and to be strong. I see these young bucks complaining about the heat and ignoring staying hydrated or stretching. They'll see. Oh, yes. It, I feel so badly for all young people because, like, said so many times, like the issues are getting glossed over. There's this attitude of like, if you don't have enough money, that's your fault. That's basically what once you work hard enough and you get past the point where you're like not really struggling anymore. Um, I don't know. I guess like people seem to think like everybody can go get a medical degree or a tech degree, or like there's never going to be a time where we need people to flip the burgers, and like they've brainwashed us into thinking those things like that those jobs are just for the teenagers. No, I don't think any job should not be paying a living wage, and the wage stagnation is hurting people's futures. Like, these young people don't wanna work because they have nothing to look forward to, because when I was their age 20 years ago, what I made in a week, I could buy so much cool stuff with it, I was doing all this stuff to my car, my Ford Taurus. And nowadays, they don't have anything to look forward to. You couldn't be a waitress at a restaurant and get a studio apartment and have a cell phone and a car and then have a social life on your days off. Like, people have nothing to look forward to. I hate to be so nihilistic, but I really do feel for them. But at the same time, oh, it's like the hand holding with men of all ages, but especially the younger men. It these people are just raised in front of a screen. It's unfortunate. Shame on the fact that now these days, girls, when they turn 18, turn to fast money marketing, which is OF. Steffi, yes, but most of them will never make any money, and that is such a shame. And I've been very outspoken how I don't believe sex work is real work. It is unsustainable. It is dangerous. It is so harmful what it is doing to women. I could care less who's in here, could be any of them others, as long as they're polite. It just shows that others do carry on and the drama isn't our central focus as it is to them. I agree, Yoder. Not gonna lie, I've noticed that about the daughters too, Warrior said. Mm-hmm. Charlem, random, but you look so much like Janine Garofalo. That's funny, Charlem. I think I've gotten that one time before. People just think I look like somebody with dark hair and light skin. I've gotten told I look like people that I don't think I look like. But Powder Toast Girl, I'm skeptical about the fertility rate or just that this generation of women are resistant to start families. Yeah, I think I don't know how much you follow like the 4B movement, but I follow a lot of that. I think it's really interesting. A lot of the women I follow speak out, encourage women not to get married, not to have children, and they are married themselves. And they're still happily married, but they know how difficult it is to find a good partner. It is like a needle in a haystack. And I know men feel like that about women as well. I get it. But because we've been through, in just the last few decades, really, a handful of decades, a revolution where we went from being at home, or at least if we did work jobs, we didn't have professional high earning degrees as much. And now the tables are turning. Women are out going to be outpacing men in a lot of ways if we keep going on this trajectory. And because of those things we've overcame, I feel like, may I ask what topic or what typically stream like a niche? Just asking out of genuine curiosity. Oh, Tony, I am all over the place. You're fine. I talk a lot about like social, political, I don't want to say political. I know I have homestead in the name. I am very interested in permaculture. I had a surgery this year, so I've been all over the place. I don't do much with my garden. But I am hoping, I wanna do since I started my garden in the heat of the summer at the beginning of July, I wanna start a really good fall garden, which is something I've never done before, and I think that will be fun. Like, I'm gonna start my garden at the end of the year when most people don't start a garden, but that's gonna be ideal for especially salad greens and root vegetables. Yoda, everyone knows to pretend to not know is a lie. Oh, what are we Shelley, what are we talking about? No, I wanna know. Yes, here in Appalachian, they treat their sons like they're precious and daughters like they're trash. Yes. Yeah, Brian, I work a lot of 50-hour weeks, even 60 sometimes, and it does suck. And they talk about work-life balance after like weeks and weeks of overtime. It's like, you guys, Tony, may I? Oh, I just read that. I thought they were being rude, Anna. I apologize, Mr. Carey said. No, less it was a weird, twisted joke. I'm glad I missed it because I definitely missed it. Thank you, here for it. Can't even live for love, shaking my head. It's what is coming of this world. I feel like we seriously live in a dystopian movie. Mr. Carey, you are not forgiven, Shelley said. I'm sorry, I'm smiling saying that if you're being serious. I thought you might be being sarcastic. More than 40 hours. Okay. My mom is tougher than one of my sisters, and she wasn't me. My sister is a hard worker and has never illegitimately missed a day of work in her life since she was 11. Wow, William, that's amazing. Hi, husband and wifey, how are you? Is it our fault in a long time by letting them express their feelings? Steffi, what are you talking about men? I don't know exactly what you're talking about. Shelley, Mark Pennington, I don't know what you're talking about. And Yoder, yeah, I don't know what Shelley is talking about. I'm not in, oh, Shelley is just being a troll. Powder toast girls, kids these days just want to be on YouTube stars and don't want to go outside. I'm worried about our future ending up like idiocracy. Yes, it really is the social media influence on young minds. I've had a few young people in here, and I think it is really sweet, but at the same time, it's like I just it almost makes me feel bad, like some of the stuff I say, I don't want a 13-year-old in here necessarily. Well, I never asked for $20, Chuck Norris. Wives get cheaper by the dozen. I just listened to this interesting, like, well, let's talk about that for a second. The most polygamous cultures are also the most like unsuccessful. Think about it. Where people practice polygamy, people are overall doing worse. Monogamy encourages growth and development way more than polygamy. And that is the proof is in the pudding. I see you're from Kentucky. So do you believe or have had encounters with Bigfoot? I hear y'all have like your version of Southern Bigfoot down there, Jackie. Well, yeah, just it's not quite skunk ape. Like I don't know if you're talking about like there's a skunk ape in Florida that's like smaller, but I had an uncle who thought he saw a I know he said he saw head to toe covered in fur. It was undeniable, and this man, I don't think he would lie about this. He saw one in southern Indiana, but I have not seen one here or known anybody. I I did have a experience at Clifty Falls, which is also in southern Indiana. Um, do you guys have you ever heard of a glimmer man? And I've been out in the wilderness a lot around here. I actually get like the creeps more in the woods here, or even just driving by the woods. There's something about the mountains and the foothills of the mountains that I always say it's a very humbling experience. And I really do feel like there's definitely things like that that are interdimensional beings, or there's portals that they come in and out of. It just doesn't make sense any other way. Tony, my marriage of 15 years ended, and we are both at fault, myself included, but I also blame a lot of how times have changed and the views of society pushed. I'm really sorry to hear that, Tony. Oh, I didn't read your comment before. Both men and women times have certainly changed. I never thought it was right with how much was placed on women or men's shoulders, a balance, a partnership, a balance to take care of each other. I'm sorry about your marriage ending. I know that's really difficult. Hi, Polio. How are you? Steffi, my ex was acting the same way, putting our son on a pedestal, and our daughter was always a second in the family. Oh, yeah, it's like super. And my mom did it to us. Like she would complain about her parents doing it to her because she was the only girl for like 10 years. They had her, three boys, and then another girl, and she would have to clean up all of her brother's rooms. Like she'd have to clean up after them all the time and make food for them, just be their little maid, basically. And okay, so she didn't, I guess she didn't repeat that cycle. She didn't make us be a little maid for my brother, but at the same time, it was definitely like he was the golden child and still is to this day. I was born from the 90s, one of the last generations before social media. I think it really messed up genuine human connection. Blame it partly for ending my marriage. Tony, I speak out about that a lot, and I'm not claiming to have a perfect marriage, as I was just saying earlier. Like there's like, trust me, I don't have a perfect marriage, but I think one reason we've survived this long and have been as good off as we are is because we don't do social media. And I'm really trying not to shove that in anybody's faces. Like it's just the truth. It's so difficult. And adult media is not a part of our relationship. And no, I didn't ask my husband to stop watching it. I genuinely didn't. And yes, excuse me, I've asked him if he's okay with me divulging this on the internet, and he said yes. And we separated for a year. And when we got back together, we were just like asking each other, just talking about stuff. And he brought it up. He's like, I don't like it anymore. I don't indulge in that. And that was such a blessing because I was raised like with these, I've talked about this, the Playboy magazines, like weren't we all like Hustler, the Images, and like all the early 2000s, a lot of mid 2000s like movies, like we're all shown these images of like casual sex and just, live and let live. It's, like, super detrimental to all of us, and I say all that with a heavy heart because I know that there might be a woman that hears that and, like, would love for her husband to not indulge in that and knows that it's, like, a big root of a lot of their issues, and it just really sucks. A lot of men are addicted and have changed their brain structures, and the same thing that's going on with men and the dopamine rushes they create is going on with women and social media and the likes they get on pictures. And I denied that for a few years. I was like, no, women aren't getting like overinflated egos because of likes on pictures. I know what it's like to be a woman and just compare yourself constantly to other women and their faces and their bodies and always find fault in your own. And like they're probably even more, have worse self esteem than ever. But I was proven wrong by that. Now I see it. Yes, like women are being affected by social media and the likes they get on pictures. And I don't even like talking about their looks because I really do think everybody can be beautiful. There's portals. There's one in Russia and Washington, USA. You grew up in Hazard, Kentucky, feral child. You live in Oregon now. That's nice. I was just talking about an herbalist I really love. She is of the woods. I don't know if she's in Washington State or Oregon, but I just love her. Hi, Vivi, if you're still here. Same thing my uncle told me about his Bigfoot story. Diamond said, that's cool. Kentucky women are number one, Las Vegas. Yeah, my uncle was parked in a car with a girlfriend. I think you guys all know, what was going on. And he said he heard something, like it threw something at the car. That was the story. And it was like they left. He said he knows for a fact what he saw. Um, I guess I can say where it was, Anderson Falls, Indiana. But yeah, I have no doubt there's things out there in these woods. I've never been in the woods at night in Kentucky besides Tom Sawyer Park in Louisville. I was really frightened about Slender Man until I heard it only targets kids. I was like, oh, thank God. Oh, do you guys want to hear my Glimmer Man story? That's funny, Blue. People say we have the Rougarou down here in Louisiana. I've never heard of that. Is that another name for Bigfoot? Um, okay. I'm a 70s kid. My kids are now 23, 21, and 19. They had 1 hour screen time during the week and 2 hours on weekends. That's entrenched into them. They actually go outside and have non-screen time hobbies. Oh, that's so nice. There is like very few better feelings than like all spending time outside together as a family, right? Like it's just so wholesome. Powder toast girl, no marriage is perfect. I quit social media 2 years ago, except YouTube. Yes, definitely no marriage is perfect. And there's no guidebook and I'm not saying like never ever, but I'm just like these people that indulge in it every single day, people that are addicted to social media every day. It's changing the way that we socialize. That's 1 hour per day and 2 hours per day on the weekends. That's awesome, Bill. It has ruined a lot of our men's views and expectations of sex. Yes, Tony. And women, I always have to say that too, right? Anna C was asking if she was going to compensate me, and it's a private discussion technically, but I said I wasn't worried about it. I choose to help. Yes, I am technically monetized, but I haven't made any money off of YouTube. I really wish I had made a lot of money. Facebook for me was full of people I used to know who didn't actually care but pretended to care. Powder toast girl, I know the feeling. I ended up feeling like I was some kind of voyeur or something, like I'm like watching these people's kids grow up, that we really aren't ever gonna like get together and we'll always talk, oh, we need to get together. Yeah, we should get together and get together sometime, but we never do. I was a golden child. It's not all it's cracked up to be. I had 7 older siblings that abused the heck out of me for, oh, I'm sorry, William. Wow. So you were the youngest out of 8. I can see the dynamic for that, man. Yeah, that's too bad. I hate to hear that. So many people, it's just like the way all children were treated, like keep saying, we're still evolving to the point where we're becoming decent, No, we only recently came into the industry of video and internet adult media. Men weren't used to seeing the graphic body of a woman or the active adult media. It's like social media, just getting instant, healthy, unhealthy dopamine hits. Yes, Tony, yes. And it's the always being able to access it. Never before in the history of humankind that we know could you see other people interact intimately, tons of other people, different people all the time. I don't think I don't think it's healthy. She is of the woods is all I watch besides the Honeystead. Oh, that's neat, Yoder. That response was to someone in the chat, by the way. Okay, Tony, thank you for clarifying. When I got really sick, double pneumonia, I quit social media because I didn't want fake sympathy. I realized then that social media is silly. I don't need the likes or to see everyone's opinions. Right, powder toast girl. For the most part, it's a waste of time. There was only one time I regretted getting rid of social media when a friend passed away, and I was like, oh, I would have known sooner, but no, I've been married for 15 years. Oh, yes, Glimmer Man. I'm glad that you said that. I'm going to talk about it. Let me finish. Yes, women too. I think adult media certainly affected men more negatively, in my opinion. I'm on the woman's side on that one. Yes, Tony. Definitely more men are addicted to it, I would say. The Alchemist, don't know you. My channel is about all sorts of stuff, Beeper. I really am all over the place. I don't have a good subject like niche. I'm sorry. I really need to work on coming up with a tagline. I used to say what you put in and around your body matters, like because I'm all about health issues, gardening, but obviously I talk about all sorts of stuff. I wouldn't trade my chaotic upbringing for nothing. That's nice, William. So we were at Clifty Falls, and someone said it was because of women's insecurity about adult media. I definitely disagree. Yes, I disagree too. It's changing brain structures. The dopamine rushes to certain stimuli that's not the actual act. It makes it so young men get ED. It's like so horribly like, is that horrific? Anybody that needs to be shown the harm it can cause. So I was at Clifty Falls and Fishing Queen, I have my email in my description of my channel if you ever want to email me. And there was like, I don't know if you'd call it a canyon, but it was, I would say 300 yards to where I could see. And they call it the Glimmer Man because, like, unless you see it, like, I remember hearing of this thing and being like, what are people talking about? It, it looked like, when the sun is reflecting on water and it's rippling, that's the closest thing I can think of. It was clearly an outline of a being, and it was I don't know how to describe it, but glimmer, that's why it's called Glimmer Man, and this is in a shaded forest, and it was, like, on the bottom, like, it was so shady, there's no sunlight at all, and I froze. I was with somebody. She had her dog with her. They were kind of ahead of me. I didn't say anything to her about it. It's like a lot of people say, and you see things like that, you kind of like freeze. You don't expect to freeze or act like that. But I do this thing, and I already had been doing it then, where I just picture myself surrounded by a golden orb, golden light. And I remember feeling creeped out. I did not have a good feeling. It wasn't good. It was watching me and letting me know that it wanted me to know it was watching me. So that once again, Clifty Falls, Indiana, and it was in lower elevation. We were like up high and it was like way far away, but down low. And there's no way anybody could easily get from point A to B. If you've ever been to Clifty Falls, it's called Clifty Falls because it's like lots going on there, lots of varying elevations. So I know that's not like a great story, but I feel with all my heart I saw it. When you see things like that, it is kind of like you see it with your third eye for I don't know how to explain it better than that, but it's like you see it, you feel it in a certain way where it's like there's no doubt that happened to me. There was no way that could have been a trick of the imagination, in my opinion. Fishing Queen says I've been lying in bed crying in discomfort. Sorry. What is the matter? What's going on, Fishing Queen? Salvatore, I got it from Amazon. Um, well then, I'm still bummed he don't play any more name songs since he got in trouble. That's lame. I still like Lion King a lot. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and I don't know what's going on with Shelly. I just timed her out. Um, I unfortunately one of those young kids, 9 years old, when I started looking at adult media. Yeah, obviously at the time it was fun, but I think it messed up a lot of things in my mind. Tony, I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, I don't know exactly how old I was, but I know I was too young, and I mentioned this in something I said, I believe that like we don't realize how harmful just the act of like I don't want to be a prude, but like yeah, a little kid like seeing people naked for the first time that's like not their immediate family, their parents. Like we are all raised a little differently. I'm just trying to like consider everybody. Uh, like even when you're like a girl, the first time you see your dad like that on accident, usually like it's like this jarring thing, like to take the innocence away from children. Like you might not think that something really bad happened. You're just watching people do something. It really affects us all. The more innocence is stolen from the youth. I have had the worst cramps all day and I just want to hug someone to listen to me and not ignore me. Fishing Queen, I've been there. I'm so sorry. I know you're not asking for advice, but you're talking about menstrual cramps. I would highly suggest progesterone cream derived from wild yams. It's like $22 on Amazon. Progesterone cream. And like I not giving medical advice, but I've been in your shoes before. Like no woman should have to suffer. There should be, you know. And I know what it's also like to feel like a burden, so I'm really sorry to hear all of that. Good evening, Keith. How are you? I'm probably getting ready to get off of here, but now I want to stay on here a little bit longer. I know I'm probably wrong, but I could have sworn I saw two full moons the same week, Halloween 2020. Um, well, maybe not. There's like that second moon. What is that? There's like that other planet, that planet X or whatever a lot of people have seen over the last few years. I don't know about 2020. The sex industry is still extremely male dominated and exploiting women, despite many people trying to say that sex work should be recognized like any other job. Powder Toast Girl said, rape, grape, and yes, abuse is prolific in the sex industry. Yes, Powder Toast Girl. Yes, we talk about that a lot on this channel. The people that have spoken out and kind of like been the whistleblowers on that whole industry, it is so incredibly abusive what they do to women. They just chew them up and spit them out. My ex-wife and I were getting along. I didn't even care about it when we weren't. I would look at it. It never helped the real issue. Right, Tony. Well, it's really good that you can be so self-aware. You know how many people just walk around their whole lives with their head in the sand, not able to identify their problems. As you enjoy reading these words, realize how you adapt, improvise, and overcome to naturally thrive in position and not so positive situations with every healing breath, Keith said. That's nice, Keith. Oh, yeah, the fertility rate thing of bodybuilders. Yeah, we kind of talked about that at the beginning. Hi, Olivia. Um, May you just automatically and naturally find your path to complete comfort and peace with every healing breath. It's like I'm about to snort because my sinus is so messed up. But I like that, Keith. Um, I'm sorry, I just don't feel good. My stomach hurts so bad. So it's not menstrual cramps, Fishing Queen. Oh, sorry. That's awful. I have a heating pad on my side because I have this stupid a third possible hernia. So, but I haven't been in really bad pain today. I'm not trying to say that, but that means peace and love. I don't know. I don't know if it really does mean peace and love in Brazil, though, so I'm not gonna do that. Jesus loves you, writer said. That's nice. You have a channel fishing? Oh, it's not period cramps. Okay, I'm sorry. Aw. Anthony wants to know if it's painful when you go poo. I have 115 plus healing YouTube shorts and 37 sub. Okay, Keith. Yeah, I encourage anybody that has a channel to let us know. I'm just gonna take a screenshot. So there's been a few times where I try to go look up somebody's channel and I can't find it easily, but if you ever want to leave a comment on any of my videos, that would also be really helpful. If you want to say just like sub to my channel, I won't delete it. Oh, thanks, Tony. You are so nice. Tony said I'm wise and intelligent, understanding and empathetic. Thank you. I've always gravitated towards just talking to people, trying to help people, not to like toot my own horn, but I really do enjoy being able to have a YouTube channel. When I was younger, I felt like people that weren't friends with me, like, you know what I mean? We were friendly, like acquaintances, but not like friends, would come to me and like tell me things that they didn't tell people in their friend group because they felt like we had maintenance men ask if we were Buddhists twice. And like, I don't know, I always took that as a compliment. Like, had therapists that came to the home for my autistic sons, like, say, "Oh, your home is so calming." Jeffrey took some of my workers, and when I found out, I told him, "You're not my friend anymore." I don't know what you're talking about, T-Rex. Kevin, do you think if men could, they would? Asked Powder Toast Girl. Ooh, I wish I knew what you were talking about. Kevin, it was the same reason men do cheap labor. It pays the bills. Oh, okay, so Kevin was timed out, so he said okay, so what did he say? Oh, thank you, Keith. No, Diamond, I don't really show any of my family, but I mean, never say never. I'm not saying that I never would, but like as of right now, no. I've been curled up in a ball, can't move an inch because I heard so bad, try to move. Oh, fishing queen, that sounds serious. Well, yeah, so okay, I'm sorry. They are menstrual cramps? No, LOL here. Okay, I'm sorry. I am so confused. If they are, I really suggest getting some of that progesterone cream whenever you can so you don't have to go through this again. Use it when you're on your period. I also have an 8-year-old autistic son, Tony said, "Oh, that's so neat, Tony." Yeah, we have 3 sons and yeah, and I don't even like talking about that much. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to share that much, but at the same time it's hard to like my 8-year-old is nonverbal, but he is saying a lot more. It's hard not to share such a big aspect of your life. You know what I mean? When you have a special needs kid, that's a pretty big aspect. And the older 2 were in therapies, but they weren't as severe as him. There's nothing someone can tell me that won't shock me, Yoder said. I dragged my huevos through a mile of broken glass just to hear you toot through a walkie-talkie. Uh, Keith says I'm on the spectrum. Yeah, I haven't been diagnosed, but I would assume that I am. After learning about everything we learned about autism, and I masked things pretty well. I was like a smart kid in advanced classes, but at the same time, there were certain things that I could not grasp. And I know it sounds goofy. I'm just like open because I know I'm not the only person that's been through stuff like this. I could not grasp north, south, east, and west. And I'm not saying that's an autism thing. Like I know that's like a spatial awareness thing. I couldn't read a clock for a long time, like an analog clock. But I was like in advanced classes, right? But I was in like the most delayed math class. I'd be like in like practically like special needs math. I'm not making fun of it. I'm a special needs mom, but advanced ever isn't that funny? Okay, I feel like now I'm just like getting a little worn out, guys. But I feel yeah, I do talk about a lot of difficult topics, mixed swagger, and I'm so glad that I have over 1,000 subs. I'm gonna keep doing it, you know. Yeah, my son didn't speak until he was 5. We had to prompt him for a couple more years, not really speaking in complete sentences. I want to say about the past year and a half, he has progressed. So good, Tony. I'm glad to hear that. I was born in '87, so yes, I'm an older millennial, right? I'm a guy, I don't need to know that cramp stuff, TWC says. Well, good for you. Consider yourself lucky that you don't have to endure it, but with all due respect, TWC, because I know you've been here a while, if you're gonna be on my channel, you might hear about cramps sometimes. Excuse me. It's a part of life. Imagine bleeding for upwards of a week every month of your adult life. Like, really imagine that. Really. I don't have a uterus anymore, so I have survivor's guilt. So much it tears me up thinking about. I'm so proud of him. Speaks in complete sentences, understand him, has his own little personality. That's awesome, Tony. Yeah, I know how that's like. Oh, hey, Rebecca, I remember you. Oh, thank you for stopping by and commenting. I hope you're doing well. David boy, extra iron. Okay, powder toast girl. My son was a late talker. People, even family, were telling me to get him tested. He's 10 now and has a couple of neurodivergent habits, but is doing fine. Um, oh, Yoder, I hope that you get lots of good sleep and you wake up feeling better tomorrow. Better than you did today. Thanks for coming on here. Love you. Good night. I'm 84, so now listen here, little girl. She said, she's not 84. But yeah, powder toast girl, that's awesome. There's definitely a lot of kids that just need some more one-on-one, right? I don't want to drag my son because he moves his nose or twirls his hands when he's stimulated. Oh, right, powdered toast girl. That's one reason we home educated. Not saying that's a choice, that's the right choice for everybody. But um, yeah, totally get what you're saying. And I totally like if you medicate your child for whatever reasons, like I'm not judging that either, but I totally get where you're coming from. Hi, Joshua. How are you? You left Islam, atheist, objectivist, now enjoying life. That's neat. Do you have a channel, New Intellectual? I encourage people with channels to like let us know so we can support and sub. I like to sub to small channels. I think it might be a a reason why I got a little pop and monetized in this last month and just like really trying to I've always tried to do unto others and then I catch myself because I'm like if I'm doing unto others because I want good karma, is that really doing unto others or is that just being selfish? But I really do like sub try to give views to the small channels I subscribe to. And like if we could all like spend a few minutes of our day watching small channels and help other creators get monetized, wouldn't that be awesome? I've read that a protein-rich diet raises the chances of having a male baby. Ample resources, Warrior of Love said. That's interesting. Warrior said, hello there, new intellectual. I don't really cook that much. I work in a factory 4 or 5 days a week. I should cook more on my days off. Usually what I make on my days, I like to make lentil stew. It's like not every week, but most weeks on one of my days off, I make lentil stew because that is a good, cheap, protein-rich meal. Mm, it's just I really like it. Tony, thank you so much. You're being so nice. I'm so glad you found this live too, and I hope that you stick around. I'm gonna go live a lot. My edited content has done really poorly. I mean, like, I can't edit for crap. It's not that it's done. I don't like making edited videos, but I need to get back to hooking my computer up to the internet. And if you guys at all are like interested in, I don't know, if you're bored, I have a lot of um, I unprivated a lot of videos for people, new subs that are old. If you look at my videos, my edited content, if you go from oldest to newest, I'm all over the place. I've always been for like 7 years. Okay. Gotta go. Powder toast girl said. Um, oh, enjoy your moments as much as you can. Enjoy your families, everyone, and your moments as much as you can. Thank you, Powder Toast Girl. That's really sweet. I hope you have a great night. If you're still here, thank you for participating so much. I hope to see you again. Um, actually, T-Rex, I'm like pretty simple. The last few times I made pancakes, it was just like mostly, it was like mashed bananas and eggs. Because if you got older bananas, you know, and they're like getting to banana bread territory, they're like black, you can just like mash that up with an egg. Pretty sure that's all you need. You know, you don't need any sugar because of the bananas. Maybe add a little bit of flour. You know, you'll notice the consistency, but I'm a big fan of whole food. Even though, you know, like I said, I eat potato chips, I eat like crap. Are you asking how I have been TWC? I'm doing Okay. Getting a CT scan to figure out my hernia pain this week. I was avoiding that. Didn't really wanna get the radiation. It'll be the 3rd CT scan of my life, but, it is what it is. I'm gonna lose my job at this rate if I don't figure out the pain. Tony, you don't have to answer this if it makes you uncomfortable and it's controversial. Do you believe in ABA therapy for autistic children? My wife is against it. I don't know much about it, but there was entry-level positions to get into. I almost thought about it, but stayed away because of what my ex-wife said for my autistic son, of course. Tony, okay, so this is my opinion and so my older sons were high functioning and I decided then, in my opinion, it was like they were, like, giving him cheese puffs, like, training him like a dog, and no, I didn't like that. I think it oh gosh, it might be beneficial for some people to be trained like a dog, but, like, the ABA therapists we had were not it. Like, we had wonderful speech, occupational, and developmental interventionists. ABA was not it, and I don't believe in it in general, but it kills me that, like, they give so much of it, like, insurances will be, like, 8 hours a week of ABA, 1 hour of speech, 1 hour of OT. It doesn't make any sense to me. Besides, the ABA might be cheaper because, you can get an ABA certification in much less time than it takes to become a speech therapist, I believe, occupational therapist. So anyways, that's just my opinion. There's, like, always going to be exceptions, and now with my lower functioning kid, if we had the money and we could get him in therapies, I would take anything we could get. He's not in therapies, and he is progressing, but yeah, I do wonder how much more he would have progressed if he had the therapies his brothers had. It is completely different with him. Um, the stages of regression and everything. Warrior, it was nice having you. If you're still here, I hope you have a great rest of your weekend. Good night. Oh, it's okay, Tony. No, like one therapist I'll never forget. This one woman looked at my son and she said, "If you don't do this, I'm going to throw you in that trash can." And maybe it was just like the quality of the ABA therapist we got. It was never a good fit and we never proceeded with it, but we were always in lots of others. Yeah, I made a complaint about her, and then after I made the complaint about her, they allowed her to take me into a room where it was just me and her in this little conference room, so she could, like, apologize in a half-assed way by basically saying, like, "That's not what I meant, like, you didn't hear what I really said, but, sorry you felt that way, kind of sorry." Which I also thought was absolutely ridiculous. That's crazy and scary for a child, even if she was joking. Yes. Okay, and that's what got to me the most. You could see, like, it was in his head, like, "Is she really?" And, like, it really killed me that she put him in that position during a therapy session. "Can you tie your hair up better, please?" No, my hair is, like, such a mess, and I need to be going, guys. I think that I had so much fun. I think that I had some. See, I can't. I'm tired. I had so much fun talking to you guys. Mr. Carey, thank you so much. It's so nice having you help. And I'm sorry you and your child had to go through that. You did the right thing complaining about that. That's so messed up. Thank you, Tony. I hope everybody enjoys the rest of their weekends. I don't consider myself a woke snowflake, no. In my opinion, the people that would call everybody else woke snowflakes are turning into some of what they were calling snowflakes, you know? I'm a centrist. I see all sides of every opinion. Oh, Mr. Carey, you did awesome. Oh, Diamond, thank you too for being here. I hope you have a great weekend. I hope I see you guys again. Like, I don't expect Mr. Carey to always be in here, but of course his help is great. I will definitely be on here tomorrow, Sunday night. It was nice to listen and talk to you. Not a snowflake at all. Full of wisdom and love for humans. That's what I like to think. Definitely, Tony. Definitely a lot more love than anything, right? Good night, T-Rex. It seems like you talk about some heavy topics on your past videos. I hope I'm normally this chill. I mean, it is getting pretty late right now, but yeah, I like to try to come at it with like it I wanna help people, and at the same time, even if they don't agree with me, I wanna be nice enough that something soaks in, and it might not be this conversation that makes them change their mind or see a certain viewpoint, but it might be a step to it, right? Yes, Diamond. I asked you that earlier, and then I Okay. There. Diamonds and Maud. Diamond and the Sticks. I love that name. That's such a good name. Okay. So, Diamond, say something. I want to see you say something with the Blue Ridge before I go. Oh yeah, I know. I'm I'm an old hag with white hair and bumps in my hair. Okay. Love you guys. Hopefully I see you tomorrow night. This was so much fun. And good night, Tony. Good night, Mr. Carey. Good night, Diamond. Love you guys. Bye.